right-hand side yet again. Yes, he's trying to pressure out the solo lane. We saw him do it in game 1 and a little bit in game 2. His goal is to kind of just pressure out Snowflake. Terra!
Oh my god! Oh my god! Brian Codex out here soloing Alfredo, the support, taking down the ADC. That's gotta be a clip that we throw somewhere, man. That was absolutely bonkers. Alfredo not feel the global ult, but she's here despite that.
Welcome everybody to a very
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I'm always excited, especially when you start getting some of these quote-unquote playoff matches started up that have pretty decent-sized playoff implications. Obviously, you said if they're able to lock in that first or second seed, there getting that first week bye is going to be huge for either one of these teams if they're able to secure a victory here today. I'm still more so recently, since we're on the newest patch. I'm expecting a lot of junglers to have quite a big influence on these games. I know recently in our set, it's just junglers have so much more impact now coming out of that role. They're able to take on these 1v1, 2v1 fights and just really wreak havoc on the backline. More specifically, I'm also looking at characters like Geb. He had the recent change there to his ultimate, and I personally played Geb in my solo lane last night, and even Geb solo, where you can just kind of build hybrid, have some extra damage on top of that. It's a real pain to deal with if you're the enemy team. With the Geb shield still being Geb shield, it's still a cleanse, it's still massive amounts of shielding coming out.
here. Like I said, top 2 teams looks like Aggro Dashes Only is going to have that first pick over BuLLgang. And again, 3-1 here. We've got some of these jungle changes. Something else as well. A lot of these ADCs played a little bit of a rank today and saw a lot of this Bumba's Spear, even out of the mid lane sometimes, getting you that good auto damage, going this more ability base. So interesting to see what kind of hunters we're going to see prioritizes. Some of the bow builds are kind of falling off, and so with that, some of the steroid hunters are also falling off there, whereas gods like Heimdall and some of those more ability gods like Ull that we saw in SPL this weekend really make a good standout.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see an Uller ban coming out. He's kind of when you think of ability-based ADCs, he is the premier ability-based ADC that comes to mind. I mean, Chiron can kind of fall into that Neath as well as kind of the next 2 options when you think just pure ability-based damage coming out. But Uller really takes advantage of Bumba's dagger. Either if he wants to upgrade it to Bumba's Spear, which is an extremely powerful item, and yeah, Uller does get banned away, or if he just goes the Bumba's Hammer for the extra cooldown and just spam abilities left and right.
Yeah, definitely a lot of versatility in there for those ADCs. Is of course all none of their items got changed, so that's not going to take away from those bow builds or from those other things, but just another strong avenue that they can go. So some different ways to play. But as we look at these bans, pretty standard other than the Uller from what we've seen the past couple weeks. Yamoja, Ardio ban, some very strong Guardians. Odin, who we've seen a lot of, and as well as that Tiamat, who I think is still consensus the best mage to play in the mid lane.
Yeah, she's got the most buttons to hit and does the most for your team, whether it be split pushing or anything else like that. But again, we see the Geb coming out as a potential ban. I think part of it too is a lot of people just haven't played against a Geb in quite a long time. He's been out of the meta for pretty much all of this season of Smite until just recently, where his ultimate can actually kill, which I think is huge, especially if you look at him over in the solo lane. They're having any kind of kill pressure is just massive when you think of Guardians over there. And with that ult change, it definitely came through. But with those bans, they do leave Persephone open, Not entirely sure how I feel about a first pick Persephone though.
Yeah, not exactly the strongest the first pick, but I think outside of Tiamat, Persephone's still one of the best mages. A while back, at the beginning of the year, did have that change to her kit, making it a little bit more, I'd say, dummied down, as it's very easy to kind of use the plants, get some burst damage off, and by no means has she lost a lot of that damage. I'm getting still hit for 1,000 some games late game on this ability, so by no means hate that, but BuLLgang, interesting enough, going to a Nike with those jungle changes, could definitely see it in the jungle or the solo lane, and someone that we've seen a little bit in SPO with some of these changes, who also got a change of zone, is this Sylvanas getting locked in.
Yeah, Sylvanas with the passive change as of recent. I'm not entirely. I can't remember exactly what the passive change changed to, but no longer are you just going to root yourself from trying to melee auto attack the Sylvanas here. Interested to see how he kind of comes out. I think Nike's kind of come back into the fray a little bit too. I think primarily due to Bluestone Pendant still kind of being strong and kind of making a comeback there in the solo lane, and also the shield to just be able to block auto attacks coming in from ADCs, which ADCs they're still ADCs. So
Yeah, especially when they get that Bumba Spear going ability based. And I was playing a game today where I saw someone 2 autos for 1,200 damage with no crit. So by no means are hunters not at a good place right now.
Yep.
But interesting to see with that Sylvanas. As you mentioned, the change now being able to late game pick up those plants. I believe it doesn't work until level 20, so you got to get to that late game. But able to regen some health, basically get that Sentinel's boon for himself, which with that sustain he's already got, with that mobility he doesn't have, that's just one extra tool that he's got. But another character that did get some buffs as well, Chalk, getting locked in, and then a good character I always love to see in this Terra.
Yeah, a little bit of a cooldown reduction on the Torrent, their ability number 2 for Chalk. Going to help a little bit with his lane clear, and Transcendence getting a buff as well. You got your classic Transcendence warriors. Chalk is kind of the premier one that comes to mind when you think of, oh, I'm just going to rush Transcendence over here because I'm Chalk. I have some base mitigations in my ultimate, so I should be able to sustain up with the reigns and just free abilities as well. So he's one of the few warriors that are going to be able to get away with that Transcendence build. It'll be interesting to see if that's where he elects to go, or if he goes a more traditional route in solo.
Should be interesting. We've also seen a little bit of Chalk jungle kind of messed around, so there is that flex, the Terra over there. But I was going to say there's some flex on the other side, but with this Ratatasker getting locked in, seems like we might have a traditional here roles here, Nike in the solo lane, Sylvanas in the support, Rat in the jungle. We have seen I believe it was Ice to Sylvanas in the jungle before the buff, but I don't think we'll be seen here in this level, especially you're 3-1, you're trying to get that first bot, maybe get a 2-0, get yourself that nice lead. So I think that's where we'll be starting seeing these kind of traditional roles, which I love it. A lot of global pressure. Chalk needs to be very much kept in check. While he is hard to gank, he's very hard to get a kill when he's getting ganked. You're very able to kind of relieve that pressure, and then of course Terra, immune to those knockups. So kind of some good things on both sides. We now start to see these bans run through. Honor, banned away by BuLLgang, understanding that they got the Persephone, they got their mid laner. Chalk and Terra still have some flex, so kind of nail down the one spot that they can. On the other side, they need some magical damage outside of the Sylvanas, and they ban away probably, I think, one of the next best mage right now in that Raijin.
Yeah, no real surprise to see Raijin get banned away. He's still extremely strong and does a bunch of damage. But I also wanted to point out a little bit more on the Ratatasker pickup. A lot of these level 2 junglers are coming back pretty strong. Rat having the stun available to him at level 1 if he elects to go that. Typically he'll wait till he's level 2 to pick that up. But blinking into mid lane and putting pressure on these mid laners, especially if they're immobile, and you don't have a leap or a dash like the Raijin or like this Persephone does, you're going to be able to put a lot of pressure into that mid lane and even potentially get kills there.
Danza Cupid, our last couple of bans, so kind of just more towards that hunter role. As the Thoth is hovered, not sure I like it in this pick. Would have liked to wait just a little bit. Is there still potential for a Fenrir to be slotted in? Like I said, Chalk solo, Terra support, maybe mix that around for a Fenrir support, which is the classic Thoth pick there. But they do lock it in. Fenrir's still open. Interesting if they go that way. But I like this right now. A lot of ranged poke, which Chalk has a lot of that. Persephone has a lot of that. So kind of matching some of that. Where in these team fights they can match it there. Opting not to go for the Hunbats, or opting not to go to the Fenrir, grabs that Hunbats, but when you've got Thoth, Nike, Sylvanas, who some of their CC immunities, you kind of want to use a team fight. I do like this pickup for Aggro Dash.
Yeah, when I look at aggro dashes, all I'm thinking is just team fight, team fight, team fight. I mean, Chalk's ult's a huge AoE silence, Terra ult's a huge healing, damage reduction, damage boost for your team. Hunbat's the classic team fight ultimate. You just drop Fear No Evil, and it's pretty much over. Persephone's got a pretty AoE focused ultimate there, and Hachiman he's Hachiman. He's going to be able to throw damage in from way back. So really liking Aggro Dash's draft coming out so far. The Thoth is kind of an interesting pick for me. I guess looking to potentially just some safety coming out there. Thoth relatively safe in the mid lane with the long range dash and the root off of that dash as well. Also comes with the objective secure, which is kind of what you want to look for as well.
Yeah, and on the other side, Aggro Dashes, they more got that team fight to just kind of keep you from securing with that giant silence, the Hunbat Salt, rather than securing for themselves. But a little bit more even global as they lock in that global target ultimate that they can bring here through. But something that I also really like with this Aggro Dashes only Terra ult, it takes 3 or 4 ticks of damage to get that to go. Hunbat takes 3 or 4 times right there. So you get Terra ult, Hunbat Salt, you get that guaranteed damage burst off of there. But I really like BuLLgang's pick potential here. I think the Thoth does need to be careful with all this mobility Aggro Dashes have, but overall, if they can just kind of snowball start from the beginning, I mean, if you try to get behind, how are you going to kill this Nike, this Sylvanas? You're going to have this Thoth who will just get a dash wherever he wants. Rat will be dunking on people. You'll have a Neath ult on you. Like, it's just a lot of pressure, and I think if Aggro Dashes get too far behind to get to that teamfight game, I think it's going to be over pretty quickly.
Yeah, I agree fully. I'm leaning towards Aggro Dashes here. To kind of take this game. I think their team fight's just going to be too strong for some of BuLLgang to deal with coming in here to game number 1.
Well, we've got that there. Is the early game going to win out, or is this going to kind of get to that late game and Aggro Dash team fight going to swarm out here? We're going to get it over to the cast with Akira and Voiceless One.
Thank you very much, King Batu. I am the Voiceless One. Joining me today is Akira Ragnas. We're going to be breaking down this game. Aggro Dashes only versus BuLLgang in a fight for the top spot in the playoffs. This is an exciting one, and I'm excited to be here. How you doing, Akira?
Pretty good. How about yourself on this fine day?
Very excited to be watching some Smite.
Minions have spawned.
Definitely. I think I've got to agree with the desk, though. Aggro Dash's draft looks like it's got synergy, and it's got the much stronger team fight. Beads are going to get burned all the time there, whereas the BuLLgang draft just looks a little bit more scattered to me. And also, another thing that looked a little bit sus is we don't see any Sunders coming out on the side of Aggro Dashes, so that Nike might be able to go big at least before level 12.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how this Neath performs as well. It's something that's a little bit newer. Obviously, she is very, very commonly played, but at a competitive scene, it's not something we see all too often. And I'm a big Neath fan, so I'm interested to see some sick global snipes coming out here using that World Weaver. I'm hoping we get to see some of that here today.
Yeah, I think in the SP... Oh, wow. Before there's any chance to talk, looks like that Neath is going big already, taking down the Terra for first blood over in the duo lane. But I was just about to say that you don't normally see Neath coming out in the SPL unless it's Zyros on it for the Valks.
Yeah, it's very interesting. The ability-based Hunter build that we're starting to see come back in just a little bit. We did see, in the game between, I think it was the Bolts and the Valkyries, they played Jingwei very recently. So her and Neath, these kind of ability-based Hunters are kind of coming back in. And I'm excited for that. I was really enjoyed the attack speed stim days, but I'm excited to see something new as well. I just like seeing good Hunter play, man.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the risk, of course, is that all these ability items get nerfed again, but junglers back where they were. I think the mannequins pick up on the Sylvanas, Brannon, the support out of BuLLgang. I think it's the right call because of the early game focus of this, like trying to go into a more traditional support build the way the Terra is going, wouldn't necessarily play to the strength of this composition, and we've seen it pay dividends already setting up that first split onto Crunkaholics Terra.
Ooh, got a gank coming over here in the solo lane. Is this shot going to go down or will he find the counter kill? No! The Ratatosker will confirm... the Ratatosker will make sure that counter kill does not go through, and there will be a second kill picked up for BuLLgang over there in the solo lane.
And this is exactly how BuLLgang wants to play it with this composition. You don't want those 5v5 team fights are going to be very difficult for them. Applying this early pressure, taking advantage of the early pressure that Rap brings, as well as the way the Mannequin Sylvanas brings. Both of those, that early pressure combination lets them do this and establish, already 3 minutes in, they're already up, 800 gold, pushing on 1,000. That's pretty significant.
Yeah, this early in the game, that can snowball to something bigger. At the end of the game, 800 gold difference is nothing. But at this stage of the game, that can mean an earlier power spike in terms of a third item or a tier 3 item being finished off. And that can mean something big at the time of a team fight. Speaking of items, I was curious how you personally feel about this, the Bumba's Spear build from the Hunters coming out here. Like, what do you think of it, just generally?
I mean, I think as there's a little bit of a pause coming out here, it looks
Perfect
like.
time to talk about it.
Well, I mean, so as a jungler, I kind of want them to get off my lawn. That item is not for you; it's for us. And if the hunters use it too much, I think it's going to eat some nerfs, which would be unfortunate because I do think that the ability-based assassins have sort of received the short end of the stick throughout this season. You've seen much more dominance from those warrior-based setup jungles. Though on the other hand, I mean, we have seen, frankly, huge number of buffs come across in one patch for junglers. So if a couple of those ability-based buffs go back down, it won't be too devastating.
See, I'm not the biggest fan of it also, but not because of anything relating to junglers. I just don't think that it contains enough utility for the hunter to be viable as your first pickup starter item. I feel like as a hunter, your biggest weakness in the early game is sustain, and the Bumba Sphere does nothing to help that. It makes it almost worse because I guess it doesn't make it worse, but it exacerbates the problem the hunter already has, which is being very
big snipe.
Big snipe coming out from the Thoth in the mid lane there. That was spicy to watch. But yeah, it exacerbates the problem that the hunter already has of being powerful but squishy in the early game. And I feel like you want to fix that weakness as the hunter, not make it worse.
Yeah, definitely is a bit of a team fight breaking out here in mid, but it looks like the kill potential is not very high. Well, I wonder if you do have a point there about the sustain, and I wonder if the Sylvanas and Terra healing supports, I wonder if that plays into those picks, just sort of shoring up the sustain for the ADCs. The other big weakness I've noted out of this is that when the enemy team drafts like a big tank, like a Cthulhu or something, they just don't have the burn that you get of the attack speed, pen, and size build from last patch. So it'll be interesting to see how this meta plays out. It could be that, once people start going into like hyper tanks in solo and support, it'll be difficult for the hunters to really sell out on these ability-based builds.
Over here in the solo lane, solo laners doing solo lane things. The slapbox match ever continues. Who do you like better here in this solo lane, the Chalk or the Nike? Just from purely on a 1v1 perspective.
Traditionally, I wouldn't give Chalk any consideration, to be honest, but I believe he has been buffed recently. And yeah, I still, with this composition, I think I give it to the Chalk, and maybe the value of the Chalk is going to be seen right here. Yep, that's exactly what I was going to say. Burning the beads and that big silent CC, along with the Hunbats and the other teamfight ults, gives Chalk a whole bunch of value.
Yeah, first kill going the way of Aggro dashes only. They're definitely needing that over there. I like Nike more as an all-arounder, but I do think that there's a lot of potential for her to be bullied out of the solo lane, especially in the early game by that Chalk, just using his 1-2 ult combo. So just have to see how that ends up playing out as the game goes on here.
Yeah, a little bit interesting to see the Chalk building into it's not the Mace tree, the Morning Star tree, or the one that becomes Transcendence or Hydras or something. In this case, Transcendence. Now, Transcendence did recently get buffed, but that will eat into that Chalk's ability. Beansoup Bob will have a more difficult time frontlining as the game goes on. So we'll have to see how that works out for him.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how this match plays out in general. I'm looking at both of these team comps, and I like individual picks on both sides. I think I favor the comp as a whole from BuLLgang just a little bit more. I feel like with the Nike's dive, the roots, and the Ratatoskers through not through time and space. That's Giannis. Whatever his ult is called, where he leaps on the tree branches.
Through the cosmos, I think.
Through the cosmos. There we go. It's
Yeah,
not.
there you go.
It's basically the same thing, you guys. It's fine. I think they have just a little bit better initiation here, but we'll have to see how it ends up going out. Ooh, a little bit of a scuffle here in the jungle. Chalk getting caught out, going to have to ult to try and silence the people around him. The Shield of Zeus coming through, or Sentinel of Zeus coming through, going to get people protected. The Chalk will go down even after the silence. The ult comes through from the Ratatosker trying to connect, doesn't quite get anything. A couple players are very low for BuLLgang, but they will retreat. Actually, no, they won't. They're going to go back in. Ratatosker at 1/4 health. He's going to go down. Now his teammates came in to help him get away, and that might be a dead Sylvanas as well. Thoth's going to try and escape back to the mid lane, but I don't think this Sylvanas is very long for this, bro. Oh my goodness, if he... Oh, wow. I thought that they were going to get it. They will. The blink back in coming through from the Nike. Oh my goodness. Saves 2 teammates and picks up an extra kill. So BuLLgang comes away from that squabble in the jungle ahead in a big way as they pick up 2 kills in exchange for 1. Very well done there.
Yeah, definitely a big win for BuLLgang. Superior rotation there. They were all there at the beginning of the fight. Aggro dashes were not. And on top of that, I think we just saw what happens when you go Transcendence first on Chalk. You aren't able to tank in the middle of these team fights, even at this early stage, the way the Nike can. And of course, Nike has the extra power to tank out of the Sentinel of Zeus. But still, but on the other hand, you know, not a total loss for Aggro Dashers. They did see that they're able to get them low, and if you're able to get them low, a couple things go a different way, and then you win that team fight. So, we'll excited to see how these team fights develop as the game goes on.
Gonna have to see how this mid game plays out. We're approaching the 8-minute mark here. General stuff that we've tended to see so far, builds coming online, second, third items starting to be picked up here. No Scorpions on either side taken yet, so it will be a good minute before any neutral objectives are available. The Book of Thoth has been picked up there on the side of, guess who? Thoth!
Yeah, Thoth picking up his own bit of a fight going on here. I don't think Persephone's going to last in this one.
I don't think she betted on that invade coming through. She'll ult to try and get herself an escape, but it will only lock people in place for a couple seconds, and everyone from BuLLgang will walk away safely.
Yeah, so far, BuLLgang has definitely been doing a much better job of rotating throughout the map. The Neath ults, now, on one hand, they're not getting a huge amount of value for the Neath, but they are getting Neath these assists in the middle of these team fights, so not totally worthless either. But yeah, interesting to see the Book of Thoth on the Thoth. No pen on that item, but, you know, a lot of power, and it's working out. The Thoth player, Bravo GS, is 2-0-3, and Thoth has, for my money, probably the best objective secure on the map right now. So a high power build can definitely help with that, securing big objectives like the Fury or Fire Giant.
Speaking of that Fire Giant, that is something that will come along available later on. But neither team showing a ton of interest in it yet. It is still a little bit early to be taking the neutral objectives, but as a caster who watches a lot of professional and semi-professional Smite, I like to see those Scorpions taken down as early as possible in the game, because you never know when an opportunity will come up, and you know, if you win a team fight and then you take down the Scorpion, it's already too late. So I like to see those taken down just a little bit sooner rather than later. It's a tiny nitpick, but I'm going to make it anyway.
I don't think it's a tiny nitpick at all, actually. I think the way BuLLgang is playing this game, it would definitely behoove them to drop these Scorpions, because they are winning these rotations. And you do see, because there are no neutral objectives going their way, and because Aggro Dashers is doing a good job of farming the map, that 1,000 approximately gold lead that we're talking about, despite the fact that BuLLgang has been winning these team fights across the map, it hasn't really increased. And how do you increase it? You're going to need to take some neutral farm, and the biggest neutral farm are those objectives.
Very well put. Thank you for backing up my point there. Over here, look at the solo line. Ooh, nice arrow going to get the freeze, and that's the second solo kill this Neath has picked up onto the Hachiman counterpart. Oh, actually, no, I believe it was a Terra kill. That first one early in the game was against Terra, but still, second solo kill by Neath over there in the duo lane. She's starting to get a little bit scary, and you can see her ability build is coming online. Transcendence is done, and what is that? Is that Brawler's Beat Stick? In her second slot?
That's the Crusher.
The Crusher.
Another item that recently ate a pretty significant nerf, or excuse me, buff.
Very true. And on the other side, Thoth's going to be punished here for trying to get the ult stationary for just a little bit too long, as Aggro Dashes only will pick up a kill that they were looking for. Ratatosk trying to maybe find something. The stun comes through using the ultimate. That will result in a momentarily stunned Terra, but the teammates come through for Aggro Dashes only and silence the Sylvanas and Ratatosk who had pushed up too far in mid lane. That's 3 kills going the way of Aggro Dashes only in that fight right there. So them coming back in a big way, and Gold has just about evened up here. They're going to look to put pressure onto this now available Gold Fury.
So, unfortunately, BuLLgang took the advice a little bit too late. They did end up dropping that Scorpion. You can see they have the enhanced buff on their onto the map, but then they immediately lose the team fight in mid. And now Aggro Dashes not only has evened up this game, but they've taken the lead. And we're getting into the team fight stages. BuLLgang is going to start to have a lot of problems fighting this.
It is worth noting that a lot of the players that they have do become scarier as the game goes on. I guess every god does, but I feel like they scale just a little bit better maybe than some of the comp for Aggro Dashes only. I definitely feel like the chalk can tend to fall off later game, as well as somewhat the Persephone. She can start to be punished a little bit if she caught out of position, as we see Jotun's Wrath.
I am not sure about this build out of Beansoup Bob. Chalk, I'm not sure Chalk is going to be able to do the job of a frontliner as this game progresses.
Yeah, I mean, compared with it, you do have a Terra who can put out some healing, and he has some self-sustain, but you haven't built anything in terms of defense at all. This is the full power build. So kind of counteracting what I was just saying, that will help him to not fall off in terms of damage later in the game, but it will also make him much easier to kill during these teamfight phases in the mid game.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what their strategy is for Beansoup Bob on this Chalk, because I imagine the idea is they're just telling him, hey, listen, pick one of the carries, teleport on them, and blow them up. And if you die, you die, but you're going to take one of the carries with you. I mean, that's a risky way to play it, frankly. It could work out depending on relic timings, but it's not how I would want my solar to play, and it looks like Beansoup Bob's actually in a spot of bother here.
Getting ganked, and he's on the wrong side of the map. Does he even know there's enemies there? He does now. Blown up immediately with lots of damage coming out from the 3 players that are all over him. The ult coming out from Thoth will clean him up. And actually, it's an auto attack from Sylvanas will get the final blow. So that's a big, easy kill going the way of BuLLgang on a very out of position Chalk over in the solo lane.
That's a smart play from BuLLgang. Punish the Chalk. Now, a solo laner can often survive these ganks, even in such a bad position at this point in the game, because they have so much defense. But in this case, Chalk doesn't. So Chalk dies. It's a free one for BuLLgang and the Scorpion to boot.
They might get one more here, not even needing the arrow to come through from Neath, as they will pick up the kill onto Persephone. Get another one. Now 2 players down for Aggro Dashes only. Maybe going to try and get a third against this Hunbats. He's going to leap away in between the towers. And further ahead out in front of the towers, you can see there's a little bit of brawling coming out from the Nike and the Terra. They're both dropping very low. Nike has shields for days, though. She's not afraid to dive underneath the tower. They'll get the Terra, and they will get the Hunbats as well, with, I think that was tick damage that finally finished off the Hunbats. So 2 more kills going. They're just chaining them one after another. And now they've successfully stalled long enough that they got the Scorpion a few minutes ago, and they just kept chaining kills together, and now the Giant's up, so they can take it. They've got another 20 seconds free of anybody. Are you sure you want to be in here all by yourself?
I don't think he wants to be there, and I don't think BuLLgang's going to let him be there.
I don't think so at all. Going in for a Pyromancer steal is not considered a worth trade for me in terms of your solo laner's life, but he'll go for it anyway. And now I think Aggro Dashes only can spend the mountain of gold that they have achieved at this moment from the last 4 kills, and an 8k XP or thereabouts in difference. So they're starting to stretch this lead into something very dangerous, and I think maybe you can set up for a Fire Giant here in the next 2 or 3 minutes or so, and use this lead that you've built to make that a very easy fight for you.
Oh, the snipe was enough. Oh man,
Did finally get what he was looking for, but you'll take that as Sylvanas. Your support for the mid laner, that is so worth it.
Absolutely, but I mean, I think the one saving grace there for Beansoup Bob going for that Pyro Steal and eventually dying is that he did delay them and whittle them down enough that they couldn't just go for fire there. So very small win there for Aggro Dashes, but BuLLgang is just sort of playing this comp, in fact, they're getting better as the game goes on.
Holy cow, no kidding. Thoth picking up another kill against the Hunbats that was attempting to flee. They're just chaining death timers through each other, one after another. And in case you need an idea of how dominant BuLLgang has been so far, Oh, hang on. Are we going to lose the Terra 2 right here in the mid lane? She's being jumped on from 2 different angles. She'll make it out underneath the tower. Terra will chase, or excuse me, Nike will chase, but not quite enough to get the kill. Okay. What I was saying was, in case you need an idea of how far ahead BuLLgang are at this moment, their Sylvanas, their support, is keeping up with the mid laner on aggro dashes only in terms of experience.
Well, I mean, that's partially because I feel like Sylvanas has stolen a few kills, but your point definitely stands, and is well taken. Aggro dashes is just not grouping, not rotating, not playing this comp the way it needs to be played, which is that they want to be together 5v5. And Bintu Bob only now going into defense on the Chalk. Better late than never, but we'll see if the Chalk is able to frontline properly with such a hybrid build.
Yeah, they're going to take away this Oni Fury. The attempted steal coming in, but the slam coming in too late to secure the Oni Fury. And now BuLLgang will turn their aggression against the invaders from aggro dashes only. The snipe coming through from Thoth will strip away the health. Chuck's going to get pulled back and snapped up into the jaws of the beast. Terra followed up as well. And now it's just the Persephone. She's rooted. She is stunned. She is not long for this world. 3 more kills going the way of BuLLgang. They lose Ratatoskr in the middle of that fight, but they pick up an Oni Fury and 3 kills. That is so worth it. And now they can rotate over and take Fire Giant on the 4 players that are up.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not gone yet, and 12 Gauge does have the Hunbat's ult for the steal, but this is starting to look worse and worse for aggro dashes.
Yeah, he's going to need to do some real heroics here, especially because he's all by himself. Hachiman does have a global ult, so maybe can make something happen here, but it is unlikely that he gets over it.
Just a little late on the steal there.
Not quite going to be able to make it work there. So that is another dead player for aggro dashes only, chaining the death timers once more, as they managed to time that perfectly with Auber getting back up out of spawn. So all 5 players of BuLLgang will get that Fire Giant buff. They lose their tier 1 tower in left, but all the tier 1 towers for aggro dashes only are gone already, and that I think is about to get only worse.
I was about to say, I don't think those T2 towers are long for this world with Fire Giant on all 5, as well as, what is it, a 7,000 gold league at this point? And, you know, some casters are wont to compare Fire Giant to about 10,000 gold, so calculate that out, about 17,000 gold lead effective, or 16 and a half, sure. What's 500 gold between friends? I think these towers are going to go down, and BuLLgang's lead is only going to get bigger.
Although I'm curious, they're taking it awfully slow so far. I'm not quite sure. Seeming content for the moment just to kind of gather buff camps on their own side. I mean, these are important. They're nice, sure, but I don't know if I'd want it. That's exactly what I want to be doing with every last second of my Fire Giant time. I mean, is the Draugr really such a big deal? You want it right this instant rather than pushing? You could take this later after Fire Giant buff has fallen off.
You're not wrong, but I do think there is some wisdom in this, in that such an early Fire Giant is probably not going to crack open the base altogether. It may be that I think that the reasoning here is we're just going to clear the towers, and that's what we're going to get. And we're going to get whatever we can get on the map, make sure there's nothing that aggro dashes can take. Now, when we fight over the next Fire Giant, or maybe I'm wrong, and maybe they'll just go siege the Phoenix, but then they put themselves in a position where the next Fire Giant is basically theirs for free.
I was with you. I thought they were going to rotate through and take all 3 tier 2 towers, but they are opting. They want an entire left lane for themselves. The teamfight is going to break out. Abilities flying everywhere. When it's all said and done, most of the players are actually coming away pretty healthy until the snipe comes in from Thoth. He'll pick up a kill. The ultimate's coming through from everybody on BuLLgang. Will pick up 2 more kills. It's 4 for 1 trade so far. Just the Sylvanas losing his life, and that is kind of his job. He is more than happy to do that. And now it's a 4 versus 1 here in the base. If they manage to get this chalk, they might even be able to end here at 20 minutes. They're going to try it anyway. They don't even have to get the chalk. Starting to burn the Titan down. He's at 1/4 health gone. Down to half health. The chalk will get what he's looking for and kills the Nike. And without the sustain of the Nike to tank the damage from the Titan, I think this attempt at ending has failed. But it is still a very scary position for BuLLgang to be in. Is this Nice going to get picked up? Does she get away here? Okay, she will. She'll be all right. She's got backflip up any second now. She'll be okay.
What is he? Oh! Wow. That's close. That was very close. Oh.
That just adds insult to injury.
And
Fine, but I'm going to take your life on my way out.
I was just about to talk about how that went, and I was about to say aggro dashes, they gave a great accounting of themselves. Their two T2s are still up. They've lost the most, crucial Phoenix on the map, obviously. It looks like 12 Gauge is not content to finish
I think he'll get the kill here. Oh, well, he does have a teammate coming back up, and no, that is actually
Oh
not going to come
no!
through. That is a
Oh
dead Hunbat.
no!
Oh, that's just painful. I thought for sure 12 Gauge was going to pick up the kill onto his enemy in the Thoth there, but it is not meant to be. And
It looks like
he
the
will go
Aegis
down.
was good on for Bravo on the Thoth. So 3 minutes without the Aegis for Bravo, but I mean, you get the kill, you get the return kill on a 12 gauge. This is going pretty disastrously. You don't want to turn a Phoenix defense into a loss, which they narrowly avoided doing. And they have now lost the most important Phoenix on the map. Fire Giant will soon be up, just about a minute until the respawn. And that Phoenix won't be up anytime soon either. If I'm Aggro Dashes, I almost think that since, I mean, it's only 22 minutes. That Fire Giant is not going to be enhanced. I almost think just trade out the Gold Fury for it, take whatever farm you can, and hope you can defend. Because I think you get wiped at Fire Giant, and that's just a game. But you have a chance of defending some of these Phoenixes, I think.
I'm almost of the opposite persuasion. There's an evil part of me deep down inside that says put a 5-man gank squad around a corner somewhere because there's little ward coverage, or I don't think any ward coverage for BuLLgang near that Fire Giant. My inner Kermit says that, holy cow, is that a dead Hunbat? No, he gets away.
No.
Very narrowly gets away. My inner Kermit says put 5 men around a corner and just blow somebody up as they walk around the corner and try and get yourself an early, team fight win. That would probably end disastrously, but I just want to see it happen. Anyway,
I mean, it's possible. The only issue is that Aggro Dashes has even less ward coverage around the Fire Giant. And one thing I forgot to note about the last Phoenix fight, Hunbats dies with ult up. That's a big problem. These team fight ults, the synergy between them, they all need to, be used to have that synergy. So hopefully it'll be a little bit, hopefully for Aggro Dashes, next fight will involve them dropping those ults a little bit earlier.
You can see how quickly the Hunbats just get melted, though. Already down to half health, gonna have to head back and heal himself up. And you can see that BuLLgang are just zoning Aggro Dashes all the way back underneath their own Phoenix with little more than basic abilities. They're not really doing a ton of damage. It's just the fear that BuLLgang inspires in their opponents right now is keeping Aggro Dashes about 1,000,000 miles away. When's the last time you saw a Thoth scare a frontliner away by himself? I'm just a zoning Thoth while my teammates pick up Fire Giant. It's whatever. Oh, narrowly misses the snipe there.
Ooh. Well, that Secure is gone now, so there is a shot for a steal here. I'm actually was going to comment that, well, the Fire Giant's down now, and Crunkaholic is not long for this world.
Might also be... Ooh, snipe coming through, but the CC immunity will protect Tachimon from getting away there. So he will be able to get himself out to safety. Hunbats had retreated and is pushing the fire minions back in the other side lane. Phoenix has respawned on the left side. The BuLLgang are about to equalize that with maybe a kill on the left side onto this Terra. Not quite going to pick it up, but they'll at least get the Phoenix before they leave.
Yeah, I think that I was going to comment on that during the Fire Giant fight, if you could call it that, but there wasn't enough time. 12 gauge being over there means that one of your strongest team fighting tools is not in that fight, which means the threat is drastically reduced. If I'm Aggro Dashes, I think I send Beansuit Bob over there since he can't really frontline anyway with that build. But now there are 3 Phoenixes gone. Base is wide open. BuLLgang with an enormous gold lead and a huge amount of gold in pocket. I mean, maybe the PK passive kicks in for Aggro Dashes, but I am not seeing a great way back into this game for them.
It is a tall mountain to climb, that's for sure. Looking like an astronomical lead coming out here. Like I said, I think you need something in terms of like, oh, your Neith was out of position and we immediately blew her up, and so we have a couple minutes to try and make something happen while she's out of position. I think that's your best bet at this point because it's been clear that BuLLgang refuses to take any team fight that does not just absolutely favor them.
Well, I mean, at this point, which team fight doesn't favor them, right?
Exactly.
I often tell people when I'm playing Smite with them that you're always one team fight away from winning or losing. And in this case, this is one of the few exceptions to that rule. Aggro Dashes is 2 or 3 or 4 team fights away from winning this game. I mean, it could be, depending on the mentals of the players, this might be the time to just talk about, like, where do we want to go next? What went wrong this game? And then, clear it from the memory and let's go into the next game fresh. Because the way things are looking, this push by BuLLgang as they push down mid will probably end the game.
unless there is an absolutely heroic Phoenix defense here. And that's not even a win for Aggro Dashes. That's just like you get to live for a couple more minutes kind of Phoenix defense. If they can make that Titan defense, or excuse me, Titan defense, if that Titan defense can happen here, then maybe there's a world in which they come back, but that is a very tall order, and we are beginning the fight right this instant. Snipe comes out, immediately takes down the Hachiman. The Thoth is a little bit low, gonna burn it. He gets to get himself away to safety. That is a dead meat, so a lot of the damage coming away, but the damage being put down by the mid laner in for BuLLgang is going to counter that. Thoth gonna go down, so now they've lost a big chunk of the damage, but there's only about 10% health left on the Titan. The Ratatosker will secure the last bit of health on the Titan, and BuLLgang will take us to victory in 26 minutes.
Everything else aside, that Titan defense showed a huge amount of sign of life. The heroics weren't quite enough to surmount the massive lead that BuLLgang has, but there's definitely hope for Aggro Dashes, and I'm excited to see game 2.
That is going to be, if it's anything like that last fight was, that's going to be one heck of a game 2. Very excited to see how things go there. Whew. I just got to catch my breath for a second here. I think we might need to throw this one back over to the desk to have them break that down for us before we head to a break for game 2.
Thank you again, voice this one, and Akira, and as I mentioned there a little bit of a one-sided game. Just a little bit of that team fight wasn't able to get online with Aggro Dash.
Yeah, it turns out not having a front line is not conducive to you winning games in a competitive setting. I don't know. If you wanted the Chalk to do damage, just put Chalk in the jungle and then pick something else in the solo lane. The Chalk going solo there and just building all damage except for his Caduceus shield, which, if you're committing to all damage, just full commit to all damage. Really didn't make any sense to me. I don't know. I don't understand it. I think that was he did a bunch of damage, but the rest of your team just completely gets blown up in the back line as much as you do by diving onto the Thoth, who is just ringing true, coming out top damage on his team. I think you need to go back to the drawing board there and maybe not pick Chalk solo, or pick Chalk solo and build actual defense.
And I think there was a way that Chalk goes for it. Obviously, if you're able to play aggressive, you get that lead to snowball to where you don't take any damage just based on the lead, the heal, the mitigations you get on your ult, the protections on your Q, to where that can go a whole different way. But when you really don't get that lead and your team really doesn't get any sort of lead, there's no real way. But I think regardless of it, I think Chalk does fall behind. But talk a little bit on the side here for BuLLgang. They played all around pretty together pretty well. There was a little bit kind of iffy on some of that mid game, some of those objectives, but overall, I think that Thoth played a huge part of the game.
Yeah, Thoth came through in the clutch, dealing just insane amounts of damage. Not really what you typically expect to see from Thoths. I mean, we haven't really seen much of him lately, but being able to go that Book of Thoth and just kind of build as much damage as possible is really conducive to a good win strategy for BuLLgang. I mean, they played their comp pretty much just as could be expected and what they needed to do in order to secure the victory there.
And if you look at the actual individual picks as we're kind of starting to think about this game too coming up, you got a Thoth, you got a Sylvanas, you got a Nike, a Rat in the jungle. There's no real picks there that are like, oh, these are what we'll ban, as they're not really those kind of top meta picks and bans. Or on the other side, Aggro Dashes, they were able to grab that Persephone, and they got picking up a Hunbat, so I think it's probably going to be pushing a little bit more to that now that we got some kind of damage junglers that are in there. You have the Chalk, who people's been talking about, that's kind of up there. So really, Aggro Dashes kind of got the more meta picks, but weren't able to do anything with them. So how have you kind of adjusted it from the pick and ban phase for Aggro Dashes to game 2?
If I'm Aggro Dashes, I look for potentially just a little bit more pressure coming out in the early game. Maybe try to grab something that you can just kind of throw your influence around coming out of the jungle. I mean, Hunbat really doesn't come online until level 5, so maybe something that's going to have level 1, level 2, level 3 pressure to get you ahead in either the mid lane or maybe gank solo or maybe go gank duo lane. Something that ganks well and is able to get you off to an early lead.
We'll be hopefully seeing that in game 2, but before that, we're going to send you a quick break, and we'll be right back into the picks and bans for game number 2.
right-hand side yet again. Yes, he's trying to pressure out the solo lane. We've saw him doing it in game 1 and a little bit in game 2. His goal is to kind of just pressure out Snowflake. Terra!
Oh my god! Oh my god! Brian Codex out here soloing Alfredo, the support, taking down the ADC. That's gotta be a clip that we throw somewhere, man. That was absolutely bonkers. Alfredo not feel the global ult, but she's here despite that. And we might see Apollo able to come as well. He does the final basic as Kairos tries to finish it off with the dash, but Fuzzy Clay did this, but regardless, it will be a Primal Fury going the way of Fuzzy and the Wuzzies, and now over 10,000 gold up before 20 minutes into the game, and it wants to be even more important, trying to chase out Kairos. It will be some peel, but
Fuzzy
joining in on the ultimate, gonna force out the ultimate from Kairos as well, and he might just get away, but it forces him to dash into a rough spot. Raijin dashes as well, trying to get damage from the Taiko Drums, who gets taken out before he can get more than one shot off, but Alfredo finding himself a double kill, looking for the triple. Fafnir low, triple kill coming out from Alfredo. He's going to look for the Quadra, getting low here, trying to find it onto the Artemis, but Double Mumble doing a great job of zoning him out and gets the dash to finish off the kill. Soul still alive, wants to put more damage into this Sobek, and he might be able to finish it off, and he does. 4 members fall from Going Ghost, only 3 members on the side of Fuzzy and the Wuzzies, and I gotta say, it
That's all of their ults? Yeah.
oh. Huge! Oh my god!
Huge.
Yes,
Oh,
let's
bro.
go!
My goodness.
Room. Do you knock up?
I have it in 1.
Nah. Damn. If we were all right, we could do gold. I just killed Matt too.
Kill the Bacchus.
Bacchus, easier kill.
Coming over. Nice job.
He jumped?
Yeah,
Nope.
he jumped around me.
Yeah, we don't have anyone else coming. He's gone.
I'm just
We can leave and
backing
go.
real
Good shit.
Oh, just supports carrying games.
Your Titan is under attack. Your evil strengthens our
On my way. All me, baby, all me. You really thought you could contain this amount of God-given talent? It's already too late to run. Just give me the penta. You can thank me later. Nah, you can thank me now. Somebody's gonna end up calling the police if this cyberbullying.
And I think that'll be it for the team fight. They're going to try and back away and get away with their lives here after all said and done.
That was a very tentatively played fight, but it's not over yet.
What are you doing there? What are you doing there, Rack
said
Attack?
I'm glad you said it, because I was thinking the exact same thing. It's object permanence. Hey.
Welcome back to the Savages matchup between Aggro Dashes Only and BuLLgang. Again, I have here with me Narwallaby as we're jumping right into these picks and bans. BuLLgang were able to get that first win, and with Aggro Dash taking the loss, they opt for that second pick. And going to the second game, I know we mentioned it a little bit as far as some of the picks weren't as super high meta. I think Persephone really the only one that we kind of see is those first pick and ban normally. Do you expect any sort of shift as far as picks and bans goes?
If I'm Aggro Dashes, I'm probably looking to not so much go for the Persephone again. I don't know. I just don't think Persephone does enough in the current meta as it is. A lot of her damage is small and single target, except for her ultimate, which got nerfed immensely from what it was originally. So I just don't think... I think she's one of the most overrated gods currently in Smite, where people just value her, and I don't really see that much value coming out of her anymore. Her passive doesn't really have anything anymore, so maybe look to change up your mid lane, and then like I said, I kind of want to see a change up in the jungle, and then maybe some different bans here to kind of take away some of the stuff that they had in that previous game.
Yeah, So maybe seeing a little bit of a shift here. So far, not a huge shift. It's actually BuLLgang that's going to be the first one to actually do any sort of target ban. Banning away that Terra. Did decent in some of those team fights, but when you're behind as a support Terra, really don't get a whole lot, especially because you're relying on your team to proc your ultimate, giving that disdain for them to do a lot of the work. It's not a whole lot there. Aggro dashes end up banning Uller here, and of course Odin and Artio banned aside Tiamat there, so not a whole lot of change. And the only real change being Aggro dashes draft potentially here, although BuLLgang, I know a couple of them, they don't like to run the same thing twice, so I don't expect the same draft, but there's not a whole lot that's going to be keeping them from running the same draft here.
Yeah, a bit of a surprise to see BuLLgang ban out the Tiamat. Usually you leave the Tiamat to the second pick team to ban, because if Tiamat's left open, unless you're in the Pro League, it's pretty much just an instant lock if you're first pick. But, Aggro Dash is changing it up, taking away the Sylvanas from BuLLgang. That Brandon did pretty well on it there in game number 1. No real complaints coming out from him. He did his job as well as you can expect, but that does leave some of these other top picks open here.
Yeah, Gilgamesh, of course, Morgan, LeFay, and Persephone still open again. And the other one that we had mentioned at the beginning of the cast,
I like
Geb being there, is the first pick here for BuLLgang. Interesting to see where you go. I think right now at a competitive level, I think Geb should probably strictly stick to the support role. But I know in ranked and others, I've been seeing a lot of it in jungle and even in the solo lane and having some great success as well. So not a bad first pick. Does really show that you're not playing for that early game, which is kind of what you did in the first game. And interesting to see here, Aggro Dash is only say, yeah, we don't want to deal with that Thoth anymore. We don't want to ban it. We're just going to take it from you.
Yeah, kind of smart play coming out from them, getting essentially a 4th ban by taking it away. But sometimes you can be baited by some of those picks where you don't want the enemy team to have it, but you don't want to waste a ban on it, and then you pick it yourself, and maybe you're not as competent on the pick as what your opponent was. So interesting to see how they're going to be able to manage this Thoth, but they're hovering this Bellona and locking it in. I haven't really seen much Bellona. I think she gets bullied out of solo lane pretty easily. It can go into jungle. We have seen some Bellona jungles come out, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where they place this pick and then how they build it.
Interesting to see. Bellona, I think probably something we might see a little bit more now that we have a little bit more Bluestone. That's kind of probably favored here as well. BuLLgang, looks like they're going to lock in some more picks to kind of solve down this draft tier. Normally we do see in the solo role, so maybe this is going to be a Geb in the support role, although we have seen Jake 408 bring it in the support, and I know we have seen that as well, kind of off and on by different teams. So wouldn't be surprised that being, support solo, but seems to be the front line locked in here for BuLLgang, as well as their Hunter, grabbing that Hachiman, grab it pretty early, pretty safe Hunter, but again, outside this tier, especially if it's not in the solo, if it's in the solo lane, I kind of negates that as well, but right now, I'm not seeing a whole lot of pressure from BuLLgang's draft. They're pretty much taking the Aggro Dashes approach in this game too.
Yeah, it looks like they're kind of leaning more towards a late game. But yeah, regardless of where that Geb or tier go, both of them should have a pretty decent laning phase against the Bellona. Both of them going to be able to interrupt her bludgeon. So going to reduce some of the damage there. I mean, she's still going to get the AoE auto attacks, which are going to be pretty strong. So depending on where they elect to place either of those picks, will be interesting to see how the laning phase goes. But Ganesh getting hovered up here from Aggro Dashes only. And I've always been kind of on the fence about Ganesh. I feel like he does provide some utility. The silence is really obnoxious to deal with, especially if he's able to, stay on the back line. Dharmic Pillars is a great zoning tool. But if you're able to lock down the elephant and blow him up, he doesn't really do too much.
Yeah, and I kind of like the elephant in this draft. Gavin Tier really can be affected hard by that silence, as well as the Hachiman as well. Just because Tier's passive is he can only be hit by a CC for 1 second. Well, that silence doesn't technically fit under that because you're continually silencing. So that's one of the best CCs against this tier. And when you have all those slows, that nice area control to kind of counteract with this Geben tier who like to be right in your face, I kind of like this Ganesha pick, as well as it leaves you that flexibility of just Bellona going solo or jungle. Lets you maybe pick that kind of pick late, counter pick it for that 5th pick, and also save maybe your hunter pick as well if you want to kind of wait and see. So it gives you a little bit of flexibility as far as the draft. But as we look to these picks and bans, Aggro is again banning out this Raijin, as they did in game 1, but taking away this Rat, who I think did some huge damage and really bridged that early game for BuLLgang, getting that snowball rolling for him. On the other side, Izanami and now Tsukiyomi banned away by BuLLgang. So kind of hitting both of those roles open. Aggro is doing the same thing.
Yeah, I really like the Rat ban coming out from Aggro only. It had quite a bit of influence there in game number 1. You know, if you're looking for a pick to take away in game 2, might as well take it away here in the second phase. Make Alberg prove that he can play something else other than the Rat, which, you know, in competitive is, at least at these levels, is always a good strategy going forward. If you popped off on something, we'll just take it away from you and force you to play something else.
Cupid hovered, so it looks like they are going to be looking for that jungle pick as a lapis. I kind of think right now, especially if you have damage jungles going in, it's kind of the strongest that 5th pick, just because you can either counter pick something that can't really be counter picked. And this Cupid really doesn't, he has his matchups that are bad, he kind of sticks with them, and that doesn't change. Interesting picks here by BuLLgang. Athena gets locked in. This Wukong hovered. There's no major assassins in this game. I'm just now instantly trying to figure out where all these picks are going.
Yeah, I don't expect Wukong to get locked in. I think they're probably trolling with the hover here. Athena looking more so like it's going to be going into the jungle, but I stand corrected. Apparently we are locking in the Sun Wukong. And now I don't know where any of these picks are going.
Okay, so Athena is probably going jungle. Gab, I think, if this is troll, right? I'm gonna go with this. Hachi, I think, is the only one that's actually gonna be his role. He's gonna be ADC. Tyr, I think, is gonna go support, and Geb solo, so Geb can get some damage. Which we're gonna see either Wukong or Athena in the mid lane. And I'm gonna bet it's probably gonna be Wukong in the mid lane, just because he's got a little bit better clear. Even in the solo, we always used to see him go that, you know, Bluestone Transcendence, Bluestone Soul Eater, going that kind of hybrid build. So that's kind of where my guess is. But as we kind of have this mess, I don't even want to touch on more of that, as we do have the Thanatos locked in, and right now, I just see a big counter engaged by Aggro that's just, if BuLLgang gets nothing, they're just going to be absolutely destroyed by CC after CC.
Yeah, I think this is just a draft diff coming out for Aggro only already. Maybe BuLLgang's just feeling themselves after that game number 1, and we're like, hey, we can just get away with whatever we want. Whether or not that works out for them coming into this game number 2 is a completely different story. It's one of those that's going to be kind of difficult to figure out if it's going to work or not, but you know, maybe.
Yeah, well, we'll get in the game here in just a moment, again, because this comp, I think, is going to be the big thing. Although, you have Wukong, you know, you have Tyr, you got a little bit more early pressure than you did the first, you know. You have a little bit more early pressure, so maybe if they get that snowball rolling, we can kind of see it going from there. But, again, on the other side, you're playing into a Thanatos. Looking at these sidelines, you're playing into Bellona, who can play very safe, Cupid, who can play very safe unless you get that relics down, and Hachi's really not going to be forcing the beads or the ultimate from this Cupid very often. So I think it's really going to try to focus around this mid lane, but we won't keep you here any longer. We'll get you over to Voiceless One and Akira on the desk to break down what a mess this draft is going to be.
Thank you very much, King Batu and Narwallaby. This is the Voiceless One. Joining me today is Akira, and this is Game 2 between BuLLgang and Aggro Dashes only. They've swapped sides. BuLLgang is now the Order team in blue. Aggro Dash going to be the red Chaos team at the top of the map. But way more important than that, we need to talk about this draft, Akira.
Yeah, it's bad.
So tell me how you really feel.
It's not a good draft, and they shouldn't have drafted this way, and you shouldn't draft this way. And I mean, Aggro Dashes had better win. Basically, is what I'm thinking. This is
There's nothing more feels bad than losing to a draft like this. Maybe that's why BuLLgang did it. Is this some BM? Like, hey, we'll draft stupid and we'll still win? So
maybe. I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily BM. They maybe want to test something. Like maybe the ability items are so good that you can run Wukong mid now or something. I don't see it.
Well, they burned beads in the first 30 seconds off of the Thoth, so that means nothing. I'm not going to pretend it does.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you never know.
I suppose it could mean something, but you can mark me down as curious but skeptical as far as this draft goes for BuLLgang.
I mean, so the one thing here is that you don't have big circles coming out of Aggro Dashes only either, right? So the Thoth is engagement starting up over here in the dual lane.
It's gonna get pushed around a little bit. Oh wow! Although the Wukong getting bullied in the solo lane, he's gonna have to retreat back under tower. He's a little low.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, Thoth also does not particularly have big circles or like huge area of effect damage the way like a Raijin or a Scylla or something like that would have, or a Merlin or something like that. So in terms of like doing big circles of damage, they are on relatively even footing, I suppose. In terms of objective secure, you gotta hand it to Aggro. Dashes only, and you know, they say Thanatos falls off early, but I mean the execute's still an execute.
Get the taunt back in there. Almost gonna find something on Bean Soup Bob. He might be able to make it. Yeah, it looks like knock up notwithstanding, he'll make it back underneath the tower. Oh, over in the duo lane, there is a brawl happening. Pushed back underneath, and as much as we mocked, first kill goes the way of BuLLgang. Hachiman gonna pick up what he wants on the opposite support in the Ganesh. Cupid arrow not going to hit, so Cheer is safe for now. Invade coming in here is going to equalize things, though. Mid laner taken down, and Aggro Dashes only bring us to a 1-1. The Athena will make it out. I can't believe I'm looking at an Athena jungle. Okay.
I'm not really sure particularly what the plan there was from Bravo on the Sun Wukong walking in there against the two of them. Maybe thought that Alberg would be there a little bit earlier, but didn't quite work out. But true, this the awesome Jake lane is certainly working out pretty well so far. But hold that thought.
The beads don't protect you from damage there, my boy, and Elder is going to get taken down by the invading Thanatos as a huge gank from 4 players. Might even pick up a second kill. This tier is very out of position. He's got a teammate rotating over to help. He's a little tanky. Will they get a counter kill? They will pick up a counter kill onto the Thoth, but they'll exchange it back, so it's a 2-for-1 trade in favor of Aggro Dashes as the jungler returns to his jungle domain. 2 kills the richer.
Not a huge separation between these two teams quite yet. Last time we saw it about 3 minutes, almost a 1,000 gold league in favor of BuLLgang. And there may the other method to the madness here from
Yep. I was gonna say I think that's a kill because that circle provides a little bit more damage than you think it does.
I did not expect that, frankly, but good plays out of Beansu Bob. The other thing that sort of is in favor of this comp from BuLLgang is that last time they didn't really get a chance, Aggro Dashes, to get into a big 5v5 drawn out team fights. It was a lot of little skirmishes, big rotations from BuLLgang that they got their first 2. And if you keep that up, Wukong does have good rotation potential.
That is true. So might have been a little bit of the impetus behind the draft there, is just looking to be like, well, team fights weren't what won us game 1, so what if we just ignored them for game 2 and, you know, went after rotation play around a mid-laning Wukong? I don't know. Maybe there's something there? We'll have to see how it ends up. This game will tell more than anything else. Like, if this works, I'm suddenly the biggest fan of this comp, and you should all try it. If it doesn't, we'll never speak of it again.
No, I think you should all try it against me in ranked games. That's the one thing I also would like to note is that I really like Bean Soup Bob's build here a lot better. already moving into the Frostbound, which is theoretically an offensive focused item, but also has a bunch of health on it, so it does have defensive prowess as well. So rather than going for that full, one-shot chalk build, I prefer this Bellona build.
It's not something that I'm used to seeing first item, but I don't dislike it either. I play a decent chunk of Bellona, and I like to start with a purely defensive item just because I feel like being... Oh, hang on, hold that thought. Gonna get blown up, push backwards with the attempt on the tier there, but Thoth comes in to clear it up. Yeah, just Warriors, I feel like you want to start defensive because they aren't their strongest in the early game. They, their real tankiness builds up over time, so... It isn't what I would do, but I can see it working if you play correctly, so I don't hate it.
Yeah, sorry, I don't want to interrupt this team fight.
Oh, you're good, man. Team fight going 1 kill either way. Actually, Athena may get the taunt off onto the Bellona, not quite going to be able to take her down on her lonesome, though, so that'll be a 1-for-1 exchange over in the solo lane. What were you saying, my good man?
I was just about to say that I agree with you wholeheartedly. I do think that the first item should be a more purely defensive one, or maybe like a mystical mail or something. However, compared to Transcendence first, this is practically Mantle Discord, right?
You're building a tank build at this point.
Right. And the other thing that's that we didn't get to comment on because of the sort of Wukong controversy, as it were, the Thanatos has a really good matchup here, I think, because one of Gev's most powerful abilities is a shield, and that doesn't stop executes.
That's true. So he will be able to ignore that. I had not considered that little interaction there, but you're right. It does mean that that ultimate can be potentially a little bit more powerful, especially at the lower levels when, as you said before, sometimes Thanatos can be just a little bit weaker. Thanatos is kind of, he relies on a snowball. When he's in front, he's vicious to go up against. But when he's trailing, you just kind of laugh and point at it.
True, but I think the rumors of Thanatos, yeah, this is exactly why.
Oh, well placed ult there from the Sun Wukong. He'll gain back a little bit of health being on the cloud, and a blink was off cooldown, so he'll actually escape from that. Well done. Oh, are you sure you want to be here, too?
I don't know about this.
I don't like that. Oh, there's a counter kill. Elders will pick something up against the Cupid in the duo lane, but I still don't know if you should be there as tier.
No, I certainly would say that tier should not have been there. Uh-oh.
Pushed out too far, and there was no way that Hachiman was going to make it back underneath the safety of his tower. So another kill going the way of that Thanatos, and he is starting to pick up that snowball. He's already level 9 and got 4 kills.
Even without the snowball, as long as the rest of your team is somewhat still in it, that execute works at any level. You can be level 5 and dive on to level 20, it'll still execute. So, Thanatos, I think the rumors of Thanatos, falling off after 15 minutes or whatever, I think they are a little bit overblown.
We'll have to see how that ends up playing out. I don't disagree with you by any means. I just don't play enough Thanatos to really know, to be perfectly honest. All I know is I know that when there's an invade coming through, he's not going to get it. And will he get punished for it in return? Silence comes out. Very low health. Ooh, maybe going to get the taunt off. The spear doesn't do quite enough damage. He will get it. The second one, that is an invade gone well, as BuLLgang will pick up a kill onto the running away Thoth. Fields of Love not going to connect with anybody. And now both frontliners here for BuLLgang are a little bit bruised and battered, but managing to hold their own. Maybe going to get a kill. The ult comes out from the Thanatos coming, looking to get that execute. Boom! He gets it. Just like we were talking about, but the jump coming in, Wukong trying to find something of his own. Oh, sorry, no, that's Tyr. Wukong just died. Tyr is trying to get something of his own. There on the other side, just not quite going to be able to get it, as both players will back up. Athena and Tyr going their separate ways, going to probably go back to base and heal.
Funny you should say that, mixing up the tier and the Wukong, because I did the exact same thing there, just in my head. It looked like Aggro Dashes was really not prepared to have an invade there, and I can't really blame them. So they were caught a little bit wrong-footed, and a little bit of their execution did suffer as a result, but they did still get the buff, get a kill back. So not at the end of the world, and they have established a pretty good lead here, about 1,500 gold as we reach the 9-minute mark. Again, we see both these greater scorpions, both Gorp and Forp, have lived longer than I would expect them to in these situations, especially when we do see a little bit of, aggression established in the side lanes.
I think what made that invade so strange for Aggro dashes there was mostly the angle that it came from. I feel like when you see a red camp invade, it kind of comes from left or right, not behind the rock, behind you, sort of at your 7 o'clock or so. So I think that's why it worked so well there for BuLLgang.
Now, here's the other thing, though. I mean, you want to talk about this draft as much as you want. The Athena, Alberg, 3-0-0. Popping off.
Looking very good here. Ooh, as we're starting to contest this tier 1 tower, maybe looking to put a little bit of pressure on it. We do tend to see this kind of 3-player gank squad roam around in the mid lane here in a little bit. Oh, that is not the highest health Sun Wukong. He will get taken out by a snipe from the Thoth, and the Thanatos Ultimate's going to come in as well. Not going to find the execute, but it's okay. They've already got 1 kill, and a few players for BuLLgang are quite low, so I don't know if they're going to get away with their lives here. Attempting to engage back in, Geb going to pick up a kill onto the Thanatos. Well done, Geb. The taunt comes in, but there is too much damage here for these guys to fight this out by themselves. Hachiman going to get the wrong side of things. I don't think he escapes from this. Going to use the beads to escape the stun, but the slam from the sledgehammer, oh, not quite going to get it. At last, they finally pick up the kill they were looking for, but that does mean the Athena is able to escape and back over by her tier 1 tower in the duo lane. So, does save 1 player in exchange for your Hunter there.
Not necessarily the trade you want to make, and 12K just overextending a lot there. I'm not sure about this position from Lizard Fool, excuse me.
Yeah, the blink in engaged for, I'm not sure what. You didn't want them taking that Gorp, I guess. In a 1 versus 4, I'm not sure why you feel the need to engage in that situation. Maybe thinking one of your teammates is a little closer than he was, you were going to get a gank off. Not quite going to work out that way. They throw some damage onto the Ganesha, but he'll be able to make it back underneath his tower. Okay, probably heal up before.
No.
Before anything bad happens, taunt comes in. Not going to be able to put the damage quite down. The Thoth is there to help peel, so he will get away. Although I keep saying things and then somebody else comes running in from the right or left side of the screen and I'm like, wait a second, are you actually going to get away? Like, it's just a clown fiesta of people ganking each other and chasing way too far, and I love it. I'm on board for it. As we see Brandon go down to this Thanatos as well.
I mean, BuLLgang is just playing this so disrespectfully, and I'm not really sure why. They're playing it like they're up 30 kills or something, but they're just running around and getting killed instead.
Yeah, it's now a 6-13 slash line in favor of Aggro dashes only, and they're up, well, surprisingly, only about 1.2k gold. So I guess maybe BuLLgang's play style is keeping them in contention as far as gold goes, picking up neutral camps, taking lots of steals. I don't know if they're just feeling really good after the way that first game went, but it's not out of reach. But I do think that this play style will punish you over time, right? As death timers get longer, this play style becomes less and less viable.
No, certainly, especially since these death timers tend to get staggered out, because BuLLgang is, as I said, disrespectfully sort of going in one at a time and relying on the survivability of these, like, for example, the Wukong ult or the tier ult to get you over the wall. Thanatos can follow you over walls, and he's not going to overextend afterwards every single time. So, if BuLLgang doesn't start shaping up, this could very easily spiral completely out of control.
I'm interested to see how the builds affect things as, later games come online. We see Transcendence picked up for Sun Wukong, which hasn't been finished off yet. He is 0-3, unfortunately for him. So maybe that's a big power spike that can lead to a team fight they're a little bit more comfortable taking, maybe. I'm waiting for the penny to drop and for BuLLgang's comp to become, like, it all click into place and become good. And I don't see anything happening in the immediate future for that to change.
I'm not sure what would have to happen for BuLLgang's comp to click into place and be the play, frankly.
Attempted execute coming in here. Oh, gets the stun off onto Alberg and will get the follow-up kill. 2 kills as, unfortunately, Sun Wukong tried to dive in there and save a teammate, and that will drop his 4th death of the game. Chasing deep into enemy territory, the blink coming out from this tier. Gets the push into the rock, maybe going to get the kill finished off here onto the Bellona. Nope, using the stun as intended to keep himself alive, and the Dharmic Pillars will make sure the Bellona gets out safely, and that's a dead tier.
Now that is the power of patience. While that fight was going on, I was actually looking over at Bean Soup Bob's little card over there to see, does Bellona have the ult? And I was wondering why he didn't ult, and I got my answer. He was waiting for his team to come in, got the huge stun, turned that kill around, 3 more kills for Aggro dashes after that team fight, and now a commanding lead. And this BuLLgang composition, which frankly I didn't really like to begin with, seems to be falling apart in a big way.
Yeah, now they have neutral objectives online as well, and this composition that BuLLgang are playing is not ill-suited to get neutral objectives, but the way they're playing it means that will never be a fight in their favor in which they're like, yeah, we have power, they don't, let's go take Fire Giant. There's always going to be a point in which a gank goes wrong and you're down a player if you keep playing like this. So neutral objectives are only going to work against you in this position from BuLLgang.
And Beansoup Bob this time is no longer one-shottable. He's got the Shogun's Kusari, what looks to be a Berserker Shield coming out next. Beansoup Bob is going to be a hard kill for BuLLgang this time.
It's definitely a tougher target to take down than a Chuck, that's for sure. In fact,
she's Blaster Chuck.
Yeah, are currently having to get her beads used to get away from the blue camp invade she tried there, but there is still 3 players here from BuLLgang. Maybe a little bit of disrespect coming back from Aggro Dashes only. You're up, but I don't know if you're up far enough that you can walk into the blue camp all on your lonesome, and they will be punished for that. But on the other side, knowing there are 3 players out of position, Aggro Dashes only will take this Gold Fury for free. Well,
yeah, I don't think that was disrespect at all. I think that was a calculated play from Aggro Dashes to have Beansoup Bob keep eyes off of the Gold Fury, and when BuLLgang finally did get there, it was a huge advantage for Aggro Dashes. Again, having some of the best secure on the map in that Thothal.
It's true. You might be right. The Galaxy Brain play coming out from Aggro Dashes only. It's not a blunder. It's a feature.
Oh no.
The execute comes in, and that is once more 5 deaths now for this poor mid laning Sun Wukong, and they're about to get another kill off the back of this. Is Brandon gonna die on that tier as well? Only Geb and Athena going to make it away from this fight, while the Hachimon is going to take down the tier 1 tower in left lane for his troubles. You can see the XP and gold difference starting to grow quite dramatically there for Aggro Dashes only.
Yeah, Aggro Dash is almost getting that lead up to about the 4,000 mark before getting cut by that a little bit by the T1, but they're not content with just 3,500 gold. They want the Fire Giant, and it doesn't look like anyone in BuLLgang is in position to stop them.
It's a little early, but I mean, what else is BuLLgang going to do anything about this? The blink in, I don't even think that connected with the Fire Giant. Maybe just looking to find some damage, definitely not going to get it. You're just going to lose your Geb in exchange, so you get a Fire Giant and a kill. Another kill, in fact, going the way of that Thanatos, who is now 12, 1, and 4 at 16 minutes, Akira.
Listen, man, if you're going to have a comp like this, if you're going to have a disrespectful comp like this and play disrespectfully, you have to win, and you have to win big. And instead getting stuffed at the net every time and getting demolished across the map and having the enemy jungler go 12, 1, and 4, that is not the play. Now, maybe BuLLgang is confident in their ability to take a game 3, or maybe they have some sort of hidden trick up their sleeve. But the way this is going, looks like Aggro Dash is definitely going to be pushing us to a game 3.
If it continues like this, I definitely agree. I was about to say maybe this team fight becomes really good for BuLLgang at the very, very late game when you get all items online, but they're going to need some serious effort just to get to that point as the way this game is going. The only thing that I can say BuLLgang has going for them at this point is they still have a lot of infrastructure up on the map. Just now, barely losing tier 1 towers in mid and right lanes. So there is still a lot of stuff to push through for Aggro Dashes only. But as the game goes on, that's going to mean less and less because those towers, they basically melt to level 20 gods.
That's also a bit of a double-edged sword there because, yes, BuLLgang has a lot of towers, but they've got this gold deficit even without their towers going down. That's a bunch of gold on the map. Yeah, for Aggro Dashes to take, especially with Fire Giant on all 5, enhanced buffs on all 5 out of Aggro Dashes.
Not going to find anything onto the Bellona there. She'll have to use Beads. Fields of Love coming out, not going to connect with anybody. Leap comes out for the CC immunity. Currently, everybody doing okay, although this little bit out of position. No, she'll have to use the flag to get herself out of danger there over the top of the wall. So everybody mostly walking away okay there. And I guess in BuLLgang's defense, every second of Fire Giant time that you spend not losing objectives and not dying is, I guess, a second one.
I suppose. I am a little bit surprised that Aggro Dash is playing this so tentatively and passively. But, I mean, eventually, as soon as BuLLgang does retreat and reset the way they do and having Bravo go split push on the left there, they do lose both towers in mid. Also, you see, I mean, to your point about late game team fights, minions are going to stop this back, aren't they?
It's the most painful thing in the world.
So frustrating. To your point about late game team. Oh no, is this? Uh-oh. Oh no! I did not expect this.
This is so painful. This is a super dead Sun Wukong. Everybody who's ever played Smite has lived through this moment, and it sucks, ladies and gentlemen. That is pure pain.
You cannot draft Sun Wukong mid and then have that happen. That's all I'm saying. But to the point I was making, this late game team fight, that Sun Wukong is going Ansile, right? That's not even going to be a full blaster Wukong. Where is the damage coming from out of BuLLgang? I guess Hachiman and Athena?
That's true. That Transcendence is still not finished. There's only 16 stacks on it at the moment. Oh no, 46. 46 stacks. So it is almost done.
And just a little bit of flat pen there out of the Jotun's Wrath. No percent pen. When normally, compared to a mage like Scylla or Raijin or Merlin or someone, you would have an Obs Shard, you would have brought up Tahuti, you would have Karen's Coin, you'd have something with a percentage mark after it. But nothing coming out of that Wukong, so I'm not really sure that this really bodes well for the late game team fight for BuLLgang.
I'm definitely interested to see if we see anything change as we enter the sort of late game stage here. We're hitting 20 minutes. Fire Giant, it will fall off fairly soon from aggro dashes only. So this is kind of the stage of the game where the game becomes about one big team fight, maybe two big team fights. And that's going to decide who wins or loses here. And there's not really any place for the disrespectful let's try and gank somebody style from BuLLgang. They're going to have to use the cloud to get away from that, and aggro dashes only in return will pick up what they're looking for on the other side. Oh my goodness, the snipe comes out and obliterates the health bar of Elders, and he'll get caught out. And I was just trying to say there's no place for this this style of play where you move in one or two at a time and try and get something for free. This is going to get you punished, and punished hard as the game goes on, and now you're down a player. It's about to be more as they siege down this Phoenix with a man advantage already there. The Geb is all up front by himself. He's tanky, but that will backfire over time, although luckily for BuLLgang, the Fire Giant buff will fall off, and they will probably back up to take the next one any second now.
Oh, but this fight's not over. BuLLgang is pushed to fight.
They will get a counter kill, shutting down that Thanatos, who had been mostly left free to roam. He's got a very long death timer, so maybe small window of opportunity here for BuLLgang to make something happen. They're still on the chase. Geb looking for the knock-up onto the retreating player in the Thoth. He will get knocked up, but not taking too much damage as he throws up his little curtain of damage and starts to push damage down on the players chasing after him. Brennan getting very deep, but now getting even lower on health is this Athena. She'll get taken down by the flag coming out from Beansoup Bob. Now, way deep behind enemy lines and getting shot by the Phoenix is Brandon. He's definitely going to get munched up and taken out by the players, 3 of whom are still remaining in nearby for aggro dashes only. I cannot believe he's going to make it out alive. I thought for sure they would punish him for being so deep. Bologna going to slap them with her Scourge there, but not going to get much beyond that. As 4 players still here for BuLLgang, potentially looking to maybe start up this... No, I don't think you can. The Thanatos is up in 1 second. They're going to try anyway, though, man. Every time I think they can't do something, they're going to go ahead and try it anyway. And it's not working, but they're still going to try it.
Yeah, those are 2 words that really sum up this game. Disrespect and punishment. Disrespect coming out of BuLLgang, and they do manage to punish aggro dashes overextending a little bit, but mostly aggro dashes has been punishing them for how they've been playing this game. Aggro dashes has definitely made a very strong case for this is how they probably should have played the last game. Aggro dashes should have been grouping up, taking these fights as 5, and when they're split up, they split up in an advantageous way. And they've been definitely doing that very well this game.
Attempted steal coming through here. It's going to be too late. Animation had started, but by the time the Fire Giant was already going down, so they'll definitely get away for free with that Fire Giant kill. Still a semi-early Fire Giant. I can't believe I'm saying that. It feels like we've been team fighting for about 20 minutes now, but we're at only 23 minutes in the game. So if there is an epic Phoenix defense here, there's a world in which BuLLgang can bring this back, but this has become about a Phoenix siege at this moment. If it goes well for BuLLgang, there's hope for them. If it goes very poorly, or if they continue to try this I'll go in by myself and make something happen strategy, this game is definitely going to aggro dashes only within the next, 3 or 4 minutes tops.
It is an early Fire Giant, but it's an early second Fire Giant, which means that now there is not a single tower left on the map for BuLLgang. Aggro dashes is knocking on the Phoenix door, and the Phoenix defense from BuLLgang is not hugely strong.
It's true, they do have some engage, but it's the type of engage that is very easily punished by the grouped up damage from Aggro Dash's only. Stun coming out there, and already you can see the tier from one engagement knocked down to 75% of his health bar missing. Now he's going to have to go back to Fountain and heal, and the Scourge is going to make sure he goes back the hard way, and now the Geb has gone deep and gone in alone. Bede's going to have to be used to keep him out of trouble. Damage being exchanged on either side. Snipe not quite going to get the kill that we're looking for, but the execute is there. He won't even need it. He goes up in the animation, may get it on somebody else. There is somebody low health behind the Phoenix, not quite going to connect with what he's looking for. That is going to be a dead Thanatos who dived a little bit too deep and got burned by the Phoenix, but the tier will be exchanged in response. This is now a very scared Sun Wukong trying to run away. The Athena ult will keep him alive barely in time. And I think enough damage has actually been put down by BuLLgang here that they may be able to keep this Phoenix alive, although not if they lose the Athena and then this Hachiman on top of it. They will definitely get the Phoenix after that. No, that will not be a Phoenix defense as I had previously thought. But a few players for Aggro Dashes only are just so low here. I'm on the edge of my seat. I can't breathe even because I feel like any second something is going to happen and all of Aggro Dashes only are going to die, but then they just keep holding on and taking down everybody from BuLLgang. And now that everyone from BuLLgang is dead, that's a deicide, that's a dead Titan. And even faster than BuLLgang did it, Aggro Dashes only will even us right back up at 1-1.
Just no follow-up even on the setup from the Athena taunt or the Geb ult, and it's not from lack of trying, they just don't have abilities to follow up with. So yeah, hopefully we'll see a more, let's say, conventional drafts coming out of BuLLgang next game.
All right, well, that's going to do it for game 2 right here. We're going to send it to a quick break, and then we'll bring it right back with the picks and bans at the desk for game 3. Don't go anywhere, everybody.
Right-hand side yet again. Yes, he's trying to pressure out the solo lane. We saw him doing it in game 1 and a little bit in game 2. His goal is to kind of just pressure out Snowflake. Terra!
Oh my god! Oh my god! Brian Codex out here soloing Alfredo, the support, taking down the ADC. That's gotta be a clip that we throw somewhere, man. That was absolutely bonkers. Alfredo not feel the global ult, but she's here despite that. And we might see Apollo able to come as well. He does the final basic as Kairos tries to finish it off with the dash, but Fuzzy Clay did this, but regardless, it will be a Primal Fury going the way of Fuzzy and the Wuzzies, and now over 10,000 gold up before 20 minutes into the game, and it wants to be even more important, trying to chase out Kairos. And it will be some peel, but
Fuzzy
joining in on the ultimate, gonna force out the ultimate from Kairos as well, and he might just get away, but it forces dash into a rough spot. Raijin dashes as well, trying to get damage from the Taiko Drums, who gets taken out before he can get more than one shot off. But Alfredo finding himself a double kill, looking for the triple. Fafnir low, triple kill coming out from Alfredo. He's going to look for the Quadra, getting low here, trying to find it onto the Artemis, but Double Mumble doing a great job of zoning him out and gets the dash to finish off the kill. Soul still alive, wants to put more damage into this Sobek, and he might be able to finish it off, and he does. 4 members fall from Going Ghost, only 3 members on the side of Fuzzy and the Wuzzies, and I gotta say,
That's all of their ults? Yeah.
Oh,
Huge! Oh my god!
huge.
Yes,
Oh,
let's
bro.
go! My goodness.
Their room. Do you knock up?
I have it in 1.
Nah. Damn. If we were all right, we could do gold, but I just killed Matt, too.
Welcome back, everybody, to a little bit of a troll game 2 there. No mage or assassins pick, so not surprised. I don't think anybody here that we're sitting at 1-1, so we're jumping right into these picks and bans. Aggro dashes only, back in that first pick slot, so everybody obviously favoring the second pick, and I think it's a silly question to ask as far as what do you think BuLLgang needs to do, as it's obviously not draft Double Guardian, Double Warrior, but where do you think this draft is going to go for this game 3?
I think BuLLgang needs to, put their troll picks back in the locker, bury them deep down, and then take out their homework and actually have a legitimate draft coming into this game if they want to take this game. Obviously, this was a playoff implications. Trying to get for that first to second seed to secure yourself for that bye week. So interesting to see that they're willing to pull out the troll game number 2, but I'm expecting them to bring out a more meta draft here in game number 3.
Yeah, I was looking a little bit at the points here. If you guys made at the beginning of the cast, both these teams are 3-1. The other 2 teams that in their division are also 3-1. They both got wins this week. And looking at the points here, Aggro dashes only. Even if they lose this game, BuLLgang will still be down a point to them and in that 3rd seed. So they do have I believe they got a pretty easy matchup next week at a team that is 0-5, I believe. So should be able to rebound for BuLLgang next week. However, that 1st and 2 seed is what you're aiming for, and then they got to follow it up with a matchup against one of the other teams that's 4-1, who, if they win this game, they'll be tied. If not, they'll be below them, so kind of a troll game that they had there, but if they can rebound here, can set them up for at least a chance to win there. And on the other side of the Aggro dashes, you win here, you're still tied for 1st. You've got a decent set here going, 2 weeks left to play. So really some implications on this game 3 either way, but looking at these picks, the Thoth now banned away by Aggro dashes. They played at game 2, but they're not going to let BuLLgang get it for this game. They clearly don't want to pick it. Uller ban, Yamoja, Tiamat, Odin, Ardio, so nothing super crazy outside of there, but that means that this Sylvanas is going to fall through for that first pick.
I'm not sure how much of a fan I am of the first pick overall, Sylvanas. I know BuLLgang played it there in game number 1, and it had pretty decent success. So much success the Aggro Dashers wanted to ban it out in game 2, but I'm not sure if it's really first pick worthy. I definitely agree with the Thoth ban. If you're not going to pick Thoth first overall, might as well ban it away and take it out of the hands of BuLLgang there. But I feel like there's a lot better picks still left open that Aggro Dashers only could have looked to put in that first pick slot, such as the Geb that even though it didn't necessarily have the greatest performance, I chalked that up more so to team comp than the pick itself. So maybe it would have looked to take Geb first overall here.
Yeah, and we do see it hovered here. Hopefully it won't be as troll. With Cerberus locked in as well, it does look like this Geb should be going into the support. I'm going to say should with all this just after that game 2 draft. But again, looks like they have their front line locked in with this Cerberus and this Geb, which they did do the same with the Tier and the Geb last game, so I would pretty confidently, I think I can say as confidently as I can after a game 2 draft like that this is going to be their front line. But on the other side, picking your front line means that Aggro Dashes now can kind of rebound with some of these other picks. Sure, they don't get the Geb, but they got to get this Raijin that was banned away both game 1 and game 2 in that second phase by BuLLgang. And honestly, I think outside of Tiamat, this is probably the best consistent mage you're going to see in competitive Smite.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Rajan. Even though he took a few of the nerfs, still really strong, really great team fight, does well with cooldown, is able to just kind of throw out a bunch of damage. And once he goes up and starts banging on those taiko drums, that's a lot of long range damage coming out, and long range CC if you elect to go for either the taunt or the fear on either one of those abilities. But Danzaburo, another ADC that necessarily hasn't been huge in the meta, but I do think some of the item changes recently do benefit some of his kit. He can build pretty effectively into a lot of those pen items. His was Uproarious Rocket. His ultimate there does quite a bit of damage. It's long range. If you get that on a low cooldown, you can just start firing it off in team fights. Use it as an engage, use it as a disengage. And as of right now, there's no walls, no Ymir or anything like that to stop the rocket from coming in.
Yeah, and a lot of those picks that really mess up the dams are those frontliners, like we mentioned, the Ymir, some of those walls, the emojis. But with Geb and Cerberus also already locked in, I think you can confidently say, unless BuLLgang is going to troll away Game 3 like they did Game 2, they're just going to be in there. And it doesn't look as troll. They lock in a mage, lock in this Scylla. So mid lane matchup already picked up here with Raijin and Scylla. BuLLgang is kind of going a lot to that late game, specifically that Scylla and Geb and aggro dashes. They got this Danzabur that likes to bully in lane, the Sylvanas that can get some heavy pressure, the Raijin as well, who can have a lot of that pressure once he gets that level 5 point. So, little bit kind of what we were seeing from game 1, but just kind of flip the teams.
Yeah, I really like what I'm seeing from BuLLgang so far, though. The first ban in the second phase, ban away that Thanatos there, that 12 gauge 8 had a really good success on, going 12-1 before finally being shut down. But I really like their draft so far. Cerberus and Geb, both great CC ultimates. Either one of them is going to burn beads, and if one of them burns the beads, the other one goes in, uses their ultimate, and sets up for Scylla damage to ran through with that I'm a Monster Crush Sikkim combo. So a ton of damage going to be coming out from BuLLgang here. They have a little bit of ambiguity. Cerberus and Geb can, kind of flop whether they want one solo, one support. I think Cerberus is probably your more traditional solo laner, but Geb obviously shown that can work over there in that solo lane. Maybe looking to wait and see what the matchup is going to be before they make that decision of where that pick ends up going. But Tsukiyomi and Rat also getting banned away here. Another two pretty solid junglers. Aggro dashes again, not wanting BuLLgang to pick up that Ratatosker.
And the Thanatos as well, banned away after game 2. Really ran that early game and kind of got that snowball going for aggro dashes to give him that win in game 2, albeit a wonky draft nonetheless. But still, well played on that part, so I'm not going to take that away from aggro dashes. But very much focused to this jungle. Early pressure is it's kind of what you want to throw in there with BuLLgang. But BuLLgang, I like this pick to an extent. A Wheelix there, a very, very technical jungler. And like I've said before, this is the jungler's jungler. If you have this in your god pool, you should be able to pull out everything, as it's very, got to get your mechanics. You either get your combo off, you get your damage off, or you just kind of die. So it's really kind of that knife-edge pick. And when you've got picks like the Raijin, Danzaburo, who like to be right in your face for that damage, could favor pretty well, but interesting from aggro dashes here. They're hovering Ravana and Loki. Ravana does get locked in. I believe then this is either going to be a troll assassin support and Sylvanas over in like solo jungle, or we're going to see an assassin in the solo role, which after game 1, I'm not going to expect a whole lot of defense from that.
Yeah, I'm expecting Loki more than likely to go into the solo lane. He's probably the one that's most apt to have success over in the solo. We have seen some Ravana solos, but they typically don't work very well because your lane clear as Robin's just not where it needs to be. Loki at least has some decent lane clear. Robin, though, with a lot of these jungle changes too, he's your kind of when I think of burst junglers, Robin's kind of the first one that comes to mind. You ult onto somebody, hit him with your 3, and then hit him with your Prana Onslaught, and then it's just they're pretty much dead essentially if you're landing on a carry, and then you have the immunity to just backflip out of any of the damage coming through. So I really like the Robin pick. I'm interested to see. I'm assuming this is going to 12 gauge. Interested to see what he's going to be able to do on this pick.
especially when you got that Awilix match. She really kind of needs to get all that damage. She kind of goes all in, so that backflip's going to be huge for her. And of course, you have that ult for that good chase down, the disengage as well. Chiron locked in for the last game of BuLLgang, so an actual pretty standard draft from him here in this game 3. Chiron over in that duo lane with what I would assume would be the Geb, so not a whole lot of pressure here, but I'm looking at these drafts. I want to get your opinion here as you kind of touch on it, but I really think it's going to come down to these junglers and these mid laners specifically.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty clear and cut jungle mid lane matchup. Whoever's going to have the better 2v2 to 3v3 once these supports start rotating, I think is going to have the dominant performance this game. We'll see if BuLLgang's able to pull it back after a disappointing game number 2, or if Aggro is going to be able to take it going forward. I'm kind of leaning towards BuLLgang's draft. I think they have quite a lot of setup for this Scylla, but if Aggro can shut down the Scylla early, I think they'll look for their success there.
Well, they got Aggro in their name. Let's see if they can get an aggressive game win 3 here. If BuLLgang are going to be able to bounce back to that game 2. Voiceless One Akira, back to you guys. Take it away.
Thank you very much, King Batu and Narwallaby. This is the Voiceless One and Akira casting our final game of the night and of the week. This is Aggro Dashes Only and BuLLgang in a winner-take-all final game 3 for the top spot in the playoffs, most likely, barring some weird seeding shenanigans. Puts them in a very good spot, we'll say that.
Yeah, interesting to see that BuLLgang played game 2 the way they did based on that being on the line. But now even more interesting, Aggro Dash is drafting the Loki solo in a game 3. Do they know it's a game 3? I'm not sure I want to put that on a Loki solo, but I guess we'll have to see if they have something up their sleeve.
We have swapped sides once again for anybody who may be just a little confused. Aggro Dashes Only will be Blue Order team once again, as BuLLgang will be the Red Chaos team. BuLLgang won last time they were Chaos, then they lost as Order. Conspiracy? No, we saw that draft. We know exactly what happened. BuLLgang lost.
No, yeah, I'm not seeing the logic here of the Aggro Dashes Only draft, but I can only say I hope it's an exciting game.
I think it will be. I'm very excited to see how this plays out. Going along with the Chiron coming back in a bit to the meta, we saw him. Oh, he's gotten jumped on. He's going to be in a little bit of trouble, but he does have that 3 that can get him a little bit out of danger if he needs it. I don't even know if he used it there, though. And that will be a hopping Geb get himself underneath the tower and out to safety as well. But a lot of pressure put early onto BuLLgang. One of the 2 of them may have to back or pop a couple pots just to keep themselves in lane here. What I was going to say is we used to see a lot of Chiron at high-level competitive play, and then he fell off as the bow build came into popularity. Maybe now is his time to shine again. He seems to be back in a little bit of a way here, buying the ever-present Bumba's Spear, as we see from both him and the Danzaburo going with the same starter item.
Yeah, interesting to see that. Oh,
go ahead.
On. The fight starts over here in duo lane, but I don't think the kill potential is there unless the pull is good.
Pull is good. He's not quite going to be able to get too much of a knock-up that'll get him away to safety, though. He will get taken down on his way back to the tower, and that's first blood going to Aggro Dashes Only. They'll pick up a small lead. We'll have to see if that translates into anything more.
12 gauges persistence is rewarded there. The other thing I was going to comment on is I think this is the first game of the set that has neither Thoth nor Hachiman, and I was a little interested to see why these players were valuing those picks so highly. Now moving into what I would consider probably better picks in this meta, but what do I know? I just play jungle.
No, I agree. It was interesting to see both of those picked up, but I can kind of see where the thought process was, at least for the Thoth, because he had such an incredible impact in game 1 for BuLLgang that I can see Aggro Dashes being like, oh wow, we got shredded to pieces. We should take that away. So
yeah, makes sense.
I get that happening in game 2, but prioritizing other things here in game 3 are both teams, and choosing Loki solo, because that's the timeline we live in now.
I'm not sure about this pick, as I said before, but there's always a chance, I suppose. I also,
Gonna use the Sycam to try and get away underneath the tower. Not gonna quite get what he's looking for with the Taiko drums. Nearly going to miss out on the kill there. And the knockup from the Awilish will confirm the kill onto the mid laner. Swagnometry going to drop on the Raijin, and that's a counter kill coming through from BuLLgang. They'll equalize our gold here as they rotate away to take that red buff.
I actually think in addition to the synergy that Scylla has with this composition, which is a little bit, I do think that, sorry, excuse me, a Wheelish, in addition to the synergy that a Wheelish has with the composition out of BuLLgang, it's also kind of an extra ban, because you take that a Wheelish away from Aggro Dashes only, they can't use it to counter out your Scylla's escape. So I think that's a 2-for-1 deal there, Aubrey getting that a Wheelish.
That's true. Something I hadn't considered, but it is very true. It also kind of makes players on Aggro Dashes only play a little bit differently. You're not quite as comfortable playing deep on, some of these dive-esque characters like the Loki, a little bit on the Ravana, because you can be yanked back into the enemy team. So it all on its own, the Wheelish pick kind of changes the way that the opponent has to play into you.
Yeah, it is similar to the Khepri in that regard, where you sort of change one of the basic rules of the game. Now that said, I don't believe anyone on Aggro Dashes only has an ability that will be able to be plucked by the Wheelish. However, the Wheelish will be able to combo with at least the Geb, and of course she can set up for herself.
Yeah, I believe you're right. I'm looking through all of them and going, to any of them? I don't think they do. I think he's right. Yep, that checks out. But there is an invade coming through here on the red camp. Maybe going to look to steal that away. Not going to get over there in time. So yeah, invade coming through here. Small gold going into the pocket of BuLLgang. But are they going to be punished for this? There's a couple players rotating over from Aggro Dashes only. The damage is explosive after knockup after knockup after knockup. Takes down the Wheelish. Punished for going too deep and taking that blue camp.
So now Auberg was pretty tight on that timer, because it's actually the second blue invade, I believe, for the Wheelish, because the Robin 12 gauge was sitting on the left side being patient last time, getting a big punish there. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that knockups are the only CC that never suffer from diminishing returns. Is that correct?
I'm not the person to ask about that. Those deep mechanics are beyond me, man. I play a lot of damage characters. I just hit W and kill things.
Well, good heads up play out of 12 gauge there, stealing the blue away on the other side there, and as well as getting out Lizard Fuel's ult. So even so, that Wheelish getting killed at blue buff is even more disastrous now.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting to see how later teamfight comps end up going. Oh, actually, huge fight coming out here over in the jungle next to the solo lane, and that is going to be a dead Geb. Third kill now picked up for Aggro Dashes only. The point I was wanting to make, though, is when a team, a 5v5, 22-minute Fire Giant teamfight breaks out, which comp do you like better as a whole,
I mean, specifically around an objective, I think we have to give it to BuLLgang's comp, because I don't believe there's a single superior secure in the game to Slow as I'm a Monster. Maybe Kukulkan's ult, but it's kind of a little bit harder to time. Now that said, if it's not around an objective, I would also have to give it to BuLLgang, because the Loki is solo and going full damage. Apparently, Beansu Bob didn't learn the lesson there. I don't know. Chalk, you go full damage, you don't have a great performance. You go tank Bologna, you have a pretty good performance. Admittedly, the opponents were somewhat trolling. I'm not sure about this full blaster Loki.
Interesting to see how that ends up playing out. At the moment, he's been pretty quiet. Both players, actually, over in the solo lane, been pretty quiet. It's 0-0-0 and 0-0-1, so they're just farming, doing their thing over there. Most of the action we've seen so far has been around this mid lane. It looks like we might be seeing some more. Just a little bit of staring and sizing up over here. Maybe some interest from both teams in the Gold Fury that has just recently spawned.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, grouping Gold Fury is a big lead, and
that's a yoink back in, gonna secure an easy kill onto this Sylvanas. You have nowhere to go, and you have no movement abilities. That's a big answering kill for BuLLgang there that will help bring them closer to an even gold threshold when we set up for that big team fight around this Gold Fury, which should be pretty soon.
Right, I mean, getting a pick like that right before the Gold Fury is a tried and true tradition. The other thing we see, by the way, out of the Cerberus, out of Lizard Fuel, is picking up that Mystical Mail, which is effectively a true side aura, because since Loki's rework, damage will reveal Loki briefly.
That's true. So that will negate a lot of his stealth potential there. Ooh, the leap coming through, almost getting what he's looking for. Both blinks will be exchanged, and the Stygian Torment attempting to find something. Gonna burn every relic in the book trying to get away here. Will it happen here from Bean Soup Bob? I think it will. Are you kidding me? He had like 12 health at the worst part of it there.
That's impressive. Very impressive Bean Soup Bob surviving there. But surviving is not enough in Smite. You gotta turn it around, and it looks like the Truths is planning on turning it around right here.
This is the Rocket trying to get something onto the Chiron, who will use an ultimate of his own, gonna lay down some damage back onto the Danzaburou, who has ulted into him. Damage exchange on either side. Ooh, not quite gonna connect with the bags of money, and that will mean the death of the Truths before the Chiron goes down. Big solo kill coming out for BuLLgang, as that masterful shot getting exactly what he was looking for there. Thank you for the highlight observer.
Oh no.
And that's a loss onto the Sylvanas. Again, he has died 2 times back-to-back in the last 2 minutes or so. That is just painful to see. And now BuLLgang, it's starting to look a little bit like Game 1. They're walking around as a group of 2 or 3, pushing into every single neutral objective they can find, absolutely disrespecting and bodying anybody who gets near them. And, you know, that happened a lot in Game 1 as well. They overextend, they get punished. That was something we saw plenty of. So we'll have to see if they can continue that in order to keep this game
what?
spiraling out of control. Holy cow, that's a dead Scylla gonna answer back, and no! Not quite gonna get what he's looking for on the sliver of health Ravana. They'll get the kill onto the Geb. So just like we were talking about, the disrespect can definitely get you punished. It worked
Oh no, boy!
It didn't work in Game 2, and it's really not working here in Game 3. That is a dead Chiron on the back of a huge grasp coming through from the Sylvanas. Redeemed after those 2 deaths in the last couple of minutes. And look at those graphs. It's like a straight horizontal line, or vertical line going up from the deficit that BuLLgang in up to Aggro Dashes being on top.
I mean, BuLLgang gets a couple of good kills. It decides to be disrespectful and chase, and then they get punished for it, and they lose. They had just. Oh wow.
1 kill going early over to the way of the Awila. She's going to jump in. There's another player in the Truce who's very low health. He's got a little bit of a head start on everybody else, but Geb is tanky, and he can roll quite quickly. He's going to dive underneath the tower looking for the kill. Going to go into the rocket form, trying to get what he needs. He doesn't take damage there, but he can be hit as soon as he gets out. He'll make it underneath the tower and get away with his life. That's the 2nd legendary escape we've seen in this game from Aggro Dashes only.
Playing a little bit of temple run there, weaving around every single obstacle in his way. And yeah, as I was saying, BuLLgang just overextends, disrespectful. Instead, they lose the time. They go. Sorry, I was distracted by the team fight that's going on here.
So much happening. As soon as one fight ends, another one begins somewhere else. We lose the Scylla over by the mid lane, and look, the Raijin looking to get aggressive onto the Geb. He'll decide better of it and back away. But there was almost another fight right after that in the mid lane.
But yeah, I mean, instead of going for the Gold Fury there, they overextend. They just tied it up. Then they lose a bunch of kills. Aggro Dashes establishes another lead, takes the Gold Fury, and it makes the lead even bigger. Aggro Dashes, while there are shades of Game 1 here with BuLLgang rotating very aggressively, Aggro Dashes have seemed to have found their footing, and they are able to answer back and get these kills, return kills, turn team fights. This game is becoming a bit of a barn burner.
I think that what's happening here is, we're not going to mention Game 2 because that was a mess. But I think Aggro Dashes only through their experience in Game 2 were able to just understand how to punish and how to counter this aggressive roaming gank style that BuLLgang played so effectively in Game 1. And they're trying to prevent it here in Game 3. So BuLLgang maybe drafting a little bit more normal of a comp, but still trying to play the exact same kind of way. And Aggro Dash, they're just ready for it. They've seen it 2 games in a row now. It's what they're expecting. They know how to counter it.
Impressive adjustment coming out of Aggro Dashes coming out of here. I mean, if you want to skip Game 2 from Game 1 to Game 3. But BuLLgang also learning a few lessons, playing a little bit more of an objective style rather than simply trying to kill their way to victory.
We'll get the Pyromancer over there. The Fire Giant is now up. Gold looking incredibly, only about 1,000 in it. Although I suppose kills have gone both ways with varying frequency. It's just there's been so much killing. I felt like there should be a bigger lead than that. Yeah, it's still a little early for a Fire Giant to be taken, but I wouldn't be surprised to see some sort of invade or a gank coming in here, and that's exactly what we see. Geb coming in, getting a huge knock. The follow-up damage are just going to shred through everybody from BuLLgang. That's 3 quick kills and an absolute massacre at the red camp over on the right side. And now Chiron is in a little bit of trouble. He's under pressure, going to have to retreat underneath the tower. Ravana might be going for it. No, he's just going to steal away the buff to keep anybody else from getting it. They'll strip everything they can away from BuLLgang's side of the map, and then maybe rotate over to take out this Cerberus. They know exactly where he is, and they're pinging him like crazy. I don't think he'll be able to completely be punished, though. He might be able to make it out underneath this tower and be okay.
Not getting a lot of value out of the rotation is Lizard Fuel, and also losing his tower in the bargain. And you want to talk about aggro dashes only. Swagonometry runs straight in, blinks right in on top of everyone, straight into the Taiko drums, and annihilates BuLLgang at the red camp. And now, with 3,000 gold in the lead, as we start heading towards this 15-minute mark, or excuse me, 2.6k, 2.5k since the tower came back, Aggro Dashes only is starting to move into position where they could be looking at this Fire Giant.
Yeah, it's starting to reach that time. We're getting there. They have enough of a lead that they might be comfortable enough to take that. There's not really anything else on the map, and you can tell they're comfortable diving in, forcing fights, being aggressive as per their name. So, you know, setting up something around this Fire Giant to force BuLLgang to come to them, not out of the realm of possibility, even though it's a little early here.
The one thing I will say is that I'm not sure about the longevity of this approach, just because that Loki is going into a full power build, not relenting, by the way. That's Transcendence, Hydras, and another power item coming out for Loki. Either, I think, Titan's Bane or Dominance or Heartseeker. Right? So this is going to be... That Loki has one job, and that's jump on one of the backline and kill them instantly. And if Loki doesn't do that, these team fights are not going to go Aggro Dash's way.
That's true. Things have gone their way so far, but maybe as positioning, tankiness, builds come online, etc., if that Loki doesn't do his job, it is so easy to punish him. And once he's punished, that's a pretty easy 4v5. And you know, I don't care how far ahead Aggro Dashes only are. A 4v5 should always favor the team with 5.
Certainly, though, I mean, we do see some amount of not full tank coming out of the Cerberus with that Divine Ruin, so it kind of cuts both ways as the fight starts over here in the dual lane.
Stunned up, gonna leap in after him. The rocket going to connect as well, and that's a dead Awelish. Aggro Dash is only chasing to the ends of the earth to pick up the kills that they want. I'm a monster coming out of Scylla. I don't even think she's used it. I think it's just going to expire. Unfortunate. Then the damage coming out from the Taiko drums onto Cerberus. He's at just a sliver of health. Gonna get locked in against that rock. Gonna leap over, actually, but the tick damage is enough, and he'll go down as well. 2 kills going the way of Aggro Dashes only. And now there's a neutral objective up in the form of this Oni Fury, Primal Fury. So they're gonna take the Primal Fury for their troubles while they're over here.
Yeah, there is a little bit of aggression coming out of BuLLgang, but I think there's not really a huge amount of steal potential here. But maybe the blink is good.
I don't know if I would try this, especially not as a Geb. Gonna go for the ult. They won't get it, and now that's very, very dead. Oh my goodness, is Chiron gonna survive? He uses the 3, gets himself.
No, I don't think. Oh, the Aegis is good.
The Sikkim keeps him alive along with the Aegis, and holy cow, the Chiron's gonna live. I did not expect that. In fact, the blink comes out in return, using the ult just for escapability, as the Loki is almost punished in return for his hubris diving quite so far. I cannot believe everyone from BuLLgang made it out to safety after that attempted steal.
Maybe the ult wasn't quite up for the Loki to finish off the Chiron earlier, but regardless, you cannot give 12 gauge Thanatos, you cannot give 12 gauge Raven, and you cannot give the truths this Don Zabro. He has had an exceptional performance. 4, 1, and 7. The rocket being used offensively, defensively, quick jukes left and right. Do not let the truths play Don Zabro.
He's absolutely terrifying so far. Like you said, 4, 1, and 7. Easily one of the scarier guys to look at right now on Aggro Dashes only, with the exception of that Ravana, who's incredibly level 17. I feel like he's pretty much been involved in every single source of experience on the map all game long in order to be up just that far. You can see right there the XP and gold difference heavily favoring Aggro Dashes only, especially after they've gotten 2 neutral objectives in the form of 2 Furies over on that left side. And now it is no longer too early. This is Fire Giant o'clock, ladies and gentlemen. So it is time for us to group up and perform the ever-present dance of death around the Fire Giant. Both teams going to rotate over there. We'll see if BuLLgang can make a team fight go their way, or if they'll take Aggro Dashes only will take Fire Giant as well.
So I believe this is the first time in 3 games that this is actually a sort of, you know, an interesting Fire Giant dance. Previously, it was BuLLgang dominating in Game 1, or in Game 2, they didn't have any secure, so it was definitely going Aggro Dash's way. Now, Aggro Dashes just have a 5,000 gold lead as this team fight starts up.
Oh, look at the damage that Taiko drums does. Absolutely shredding poor Brandon to pieces. He's going to have to roll away using that Geb ability. But the knockout comes through from the Sylvanas, and Lizard Fuel goes down. And now you've got sustain, you've got heal. Look at how much everybody's healed after that Sylvanas pops his ability there. Everybody looking nice and healthy. The same cannot be said of Brandon over on BuLLgang. So it's a kind of a 3.5 versus 5 here. All Loki's in the backline, invisible. He will not quite get the stun and the kill he was looking for, but the Geb has dived a little bit too deep. He's shielded up, looking for potential damage on the backside. The execute comes through, and 2 die for BuLLgang. That Fire Giant is absolutely going the way of Aggro Dashes only now. The Ravenat is definitely hurt, but I don't even think they need him. I think they can back and yet use 4 to clear the Fire Giant and be just fine.
Beansu Bob doing his best to prove me wrong, talking about this aggressive blaster Loki, doing his job. Not only getting the Geb there, but forcing the Scylla back, not dying. All effectively what you want out of a Loki. If you're going to have a Loki solo lane build like this, that's what you want out of a Loki solo lane. And it seems, honestly, to me like Aggro Dashes are a little bit annoyed about how that game 2 went. Are you going to draft like that against us? All right, well, we'll show you what's up.
Yeah, looking for some revenge in a big way as far as going to make them punish them for playing something so strange in game 2, and then even when they play normal in game 3, you better bring your A game, because Aggro Dashes only are definitely bringing theirs, coming out swinging. 10 kills in the lead, 8,000 gold in the lead, and about 10,000 experience difference there. And they're just, look, I mean, they have no fear. They're just going to go forward. They're going to, group up, steal away all the neutral gold they can find on the map, set up for another team fight somewhere else, because they're confident in their team fight ability with the abilities they have and the lanes that they've managed to soak and stuff like that so far.
Yeah, and not only that, we're looking at, what, a 3-level lead in the jungle here? This Awelish, despite going 4-4-1, which normally would be pretty reasonable value out of a jungler, is not able to even remotely match the value that we're getting out, that Aggro Dashes is getting out of the Raven. 4-0-10, has already hit level 20 at 20 minutes into the game, whereas the Awelish is lagging 3 levels behind. Now, again, you can only hit level 20 once, so there is hope for the Awelish to catch up. But that just shows the dominance that Aggro Dashes only has displayed in this game 3.
Yeah, gonna look to prove up. Oh wow, are you sure about that? Loki gonna use his ultimate with the shield to protect.
No.
And that is a very punished Beansu Bob. Stygian gonna drag everybody back in. Not quite as much of a follow-up as we might have been looking for. The knockup comes through, but only hits 1. That's gonna be a very dead Danza Burrow. And 2 kills now going the way of BuLLgang. You are way too far forward, my friends. They're going to get punished. The Blink comes through, trying to find something against this Cerberus, who's a little bit far forward, trying to find a kill onto this, the Raijin, but he will blink himself out, back to safety. Leap comes through. That's going to get Ravana away, but I do think this is going to be a very dead Sylvanas here. So 3 kills will eventually go the way of BuLLgang as they punish Aggro Dashes only for being far too hasty in their aggression there in the first part of that fight.
Yeah, I mean, that almost seemed like a misclick out of Beansu Bob. Ulting there made just pretty much no sense, unfortunately. Ulting into 5 like that when you are so squishy doesn't really make sense. Now, that said, Aggro Dashes only does still have a pretty comfortable lead. I don't think we're going to be seeing any Phoenixes fall just based off of the timers. Uh-oh! Oh, no.
Again, we see a jungler blink forward and get punished immediately for it. You can't 1v4 as much as you think you can, especially when you're going full damage build like both of these junglers are.
Well, I mean, so it's understandable why you would say that, but Beansu Bob, remember, is the solo laner for Aggro Dashes only.
That's true. I forgot that. I forgot that he was even the solo laner. Oh, wow, lockdown on this Geb, hit by the rocket from the Danza Burrow. Gonna get shredded just a little bit by the lightning from the Raijin, but the rolling rock will get him probably out to safety. Yeah. Oh, I'm a monster shreds Brandon down to just a sliver of health. They will get the Raijin on the other side, and Brandon will make it out on his own. Okay. Oh, sorry, that was 12 gauge. Sorry, I have my side switched up again. 12 gauge was the one who just about fell to the I'm a monster there. And Swagnometry will go back to Fountain the hard way in the grayscale.
Good use of the Cataclysm out of Brandon to CC immune the ult out of the Truths. And both these teams just maybe a little bit antsy, overextending after each one of their wins and then sort of mitigating it and resetting back to even. Again, Aggro Dashes do have a little bit, of a lead still, but long drawn out engagements do favor them. But BuLLgang has definitely slashed the lead, and while long drawn-out engagements favor Aggro Dashes because of the healing, drawing out the game further favors BuLLgang because Aggro Dashes only really has one frontliner.
Yeah, and the longer this goes on, the less and less that slight 3,000 gold means, really. As especially, you see BuLLgang get the Gold Fury basically for free there. That'll slash the gold lead even further. And that gold, because you have so much and so many items, the power spikes become more and more decreased over time. They become less and less profound, essentially. So gold leads mean less as the game goes on. So this is within the realm of even game here.
Yeah.
One team fight either way could absolutely spell disaster for either team here.
I mean, and good on BuLLgang there, punishing when Beansoup Bob made that aggressive ult over by the speed buff over there. BuLLgang punished, and they did not take their foot off the gas pedal ever since then. So even though they may have overextended and maybe not gotten optimal play out of it, they've brought this game. As we go into the next Fire Giant dance, they're closer than they were in absolute gold, and as you mentioned, 2,000 gold now does not mean as much as it meant 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, and the Fire Giant has just come back online. The Loki is nowhere near this. I don't think BuLLgang has any eyes on that, so it may not mean much in the grand scheme of things. But if they engage quickly, they're going to take the Pyromancer first. They may be able to capitalize on Loki being just a little bit out of position, as he's currently trying to steal away a purple camp, or maybe just push the lane up a little bit. Yeah, over in the solo lane, rotating over now. But it looks like that position will probably not be punished just yet, as the Scylla has decided to back and spend some gold before they start up this Fire Giant fight.
Interesting that they don't decide to go for the Fire Giant there because they know that Loki's on that side of the map. Now, on the other hand, Beansoup Bob could come out with a very effective split push in this situation if the Fire Giant dance is drawn out. But it doesn't look like they're going to let him get away with this.
Doesn't look like that at all. They've got 3 players in the vicinity. One blink in from the Geb will knock him backwards, but now the attack comes through the crush. Oh my goodness, blink, jump over with the ult, and Loki will make it out safely, and now his teammates have pulled Fire Giant on the other side. They have eyes on this. The Cerberus knows and is in the vicinity. Will anybody be able to get there in time to prevent this from going down? They hit the Stygian Torment, and they will back away. Fire Giant won't fall just yet.
Now, for a second there, I was about to say it's been BuLLgang who was baited, but now BuLLgang is picking up the Fire Giant, and Aggro Dashes is just retreating.
It didn't fully reset.
Oh no, oh no. I mean, they may get the Phoenix out of this, but they're back in.
Yeah, they did. Oh, BuLLgang gonna secure it. The Fire Giant did not fully reset to full health, and BuLLgang capitalizes. They pick it up, and now on the back of it with the extra damage, they're gonna look to punish. They immediately get 2 kills. Beansoup Bob goes down off screen to, I think, maybe the Phoenix. I'm not entirely sure. And then on the other side, back in this team fight, 2 more players fall for Aggro Dash's only. BuLLgang may have lost their left side Phoenix, but they are in a wonderful position. All 5 players up, all 5 players with Fire Giant buff. They're probably going to take this Phoenix in mid lane. They might be able to end right here.
I think they can completely end here. They've got the wave here in mid. That Phoenix will go down quickly, and with 30 seconds left on the next respawn, a miscalculation out of Aggro Dashes looks to have cost them the game.
Sure, filing sort of slowly down to half health. No, there's not enough damage being put on anybody from BuLLgang. They'll be able to power through this one. They will get the Titan, and that game 3 will go to BuLLgang. After one roller coaster of a series, it comes down to one flubbed team fight around the Fire Giant.
That's often how it goes in these things, but yeah, I mean, in a very impressive game 3 out of both teams, I will say. Back and forth, that's good, strong mental out of both teams, and it ended up, obviously someone has to win, but I don't think either team should be ashamed of that game 3.
It was very, very well played from both teams. Big salutes in the chat to both BuLLgang and Aggro Dashes only. They played incredibly well. Very proud to see that out of both of them. We are going to throw this one back over to the desk and let them break it down for us because, I'll be honest, we're a little tired. My voice is shot, but that was a good game. Break it down for us, desk boys.
By BuLLgang, and they're able to turn that set around.
Oh, I was muted. To quote a wonderful Vine, if you're Aggro Dashes, my disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined. After being up by 8k with Fire Giant, and then just a questionable ult coming out from the Loki. He was his team was not within range to really be able to back him up like they had been previously. Previously, every time the Loki went in for the ult, his team was there to back him up. The team fights went really, really well for them. But he just went and ulted the Wheelish, who was surrounded by her own teammates, and then I think that was the big turning point of the game. I think if you're aggro dashes only, that's the point you need to look at and be like, okay, next time do we just wait, group up a little bit better before we kind of do any kind of engagement there going on. Huge credit to BuLLgang though for sticking in it, being 8k down. It's not easy to come back, especially in this meta, which is kind of pseudo snowbally. Not nearly as bad of a snowball meta as we've had previously, but still, if you're able to get out to a solid lead like Aggro Dashes was able to, it can be really oppressive to try to get back into it. So huge shout outs to BuLLgang for being able to pull this one back and secure themselves the victory here.
It is myself and Narwhal again on the desk. And of course, Narwhal doing all the behind the desk, behind the scenes production stuff. And again, Voiceless and Akira on the cast for us. With that, you guys have a great evening. Enjoy your week and smite up.
Peace.